Mm-hmm. True. Oh, have you? You've got a webcam, right? Or are you? Yeah. Oh, have you? You've got a webcam. Oh, people can hear us. Yeah. Hi. I know you can hear me. Oh, people can hear us. Thanks, Mark.
Haha, they can hear you, Katie, lol, because I forgot to do this properly. Let me just... I'm trying to sort this out on my end, because I'm dumb. Right, boost your volume. I'm going to turn down music a bit, and then boost audio. Right, that should get the levels a bit more sorted. Right, there's everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. Right. I'm just sorting out these last few minute bits and bobs, and then we'll switch over. It's a pretty chill stream. So I just want to turn this music down a little bit because it's very lewd. There we go. Okay.
The inner workings of Mark Humes and his stream.
Look, I'm learning this, okay? This is me learning it. So, there we go. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to a bit of a unusual... This is not a normal session, if you haven't gathered by now. The reason because Kim is currently hanging out with her mum, because it's Kim's mum's birthday today. And I forgot to turn the donation sounds off. Kim's mum's birthday's today, so Kim's hanging out with her after requesting if she could have it off, so it's not like she's just scarpered without letting us know. Trot is currently still in the US. He's going to E3 today. They're on their road trip. And also, the office studio is currently being sort of like taken down, ready for the office move, and it was just going to help Sam out a lot if we didn't do a regular stream today. So with everybody being away, we figured, do you know what, let's just do a Q&A for the first half, and then the second half I'm going to do some DM prep, because I've got a lot of stuff that needs preparing for the upcoming madness. So I'm going to currently clear... How do I clear all of the donations? I don't know, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Because I'm dumb.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with Yog Towers at the moment, so it's a bit of a... Because we've got such an elaborate setup, it does make life a lot easier if we
especially for Sam and stuff.
Yeah, so... Apologies, it's not a regular session, but we did manage to get a regular session last week, which we didn't think we were going to, so we hope you enjoyed that one from the Penny Arcade offices.
It was super nice of them to give us that. I'm just going to turn off the sounds, but yeah, it was super nice of them for us to give us that, basically. I'm just going to disable that and that, which was completely unexpected. Didn't expect those guys, you know, it was a bit of a last-minute thing for me to prep that stream, but it worked out well. Alyssa was really good, I thought. She was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really nice to have them on board. Right, now I'm going to pop out chat if I can. I'm not used to this, Katie. I'm not used to having to be in control.
I know.
This is normally Steve's job, and he's not here. No, I don't want that. I want this. That's it. That's the one I want. Right, let's get you so I can see chat properly. I got donations up.
Sweet.
So we should all be good.
We're up and running.
So there we go. We're up and running. Yay! Clapping. So yeah. So if you're just joining us, no regular stream today. It's going to be Q&A for the first half. Then I'm going to take a break. I'm going to run some ads. Katie's going to head off, and then I'm just going to do some DM prep.
I'm not allowed to be there for the DM.
You're not allowed to be.
Spoilers. So.
Well, I was going to say as well, for anybody watching, if you don't want spoilers for like the next kind of mini arc and stuff like that, probably a good idea not to watch that second half, basically. So there you go. Next week there won't be a regular stream either because me and Trot are away at LARP. It's just been a bit of a... I'm sorry. I know that I'm stealing Trot away from you as well.
Which I didn't even know about, by the way.
Once again, Chris not telling you that he was going.
By the way, yeah, you're on your own another weekend.
I thought, like, after the first time, he might have changed his mind and actually, like, let you know.
No.
So next week, there'll be no stream as normal. We don't know what we're going to do next week. We're going to figure that out. And then after that, it will be the 50th episode of HighRollers. So we'll be back and we'll do a proper stream for that one as well.
Yes.
For this first
And then soon after that as well, we're going to be starting our...
Yes, we're going to be starting,
which we can
talk about now, which is always nice. Donation from Nightjar, which is just a little heart. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Nightjar.
So, yeah, basically, we'll talk a little bit about the project. If you didn't see it yet, the Stream of Annihilation stuff that we did over in Seattle is all on the Wizards of the Coast YouTube channel. It's not going to be uploaded to Yogs Live because it wasn't a Yogscast thing. We were invited out there as HighRollers. It was all done by Wizards of the Coast. If you go on their Twitch page... or if you go to their YouTube channel, all of the streams, ours, all of the other ones are all on there. And what we announced is they announced this brand new module called Tomb of Annihilation. It's the next kind of D&D module that's going to be coming out. And as part of it, over the summer for 10 weeks, we're going to be doing a mini-series called HighRollers Uncharted Territory. Brand new characters, set in the Forgotten Realms, following some of the things that you'll see in the new module. And we did a prologue for it, which was really awesome. We had Dylan Sprouse, who I must admit I didn't know who he was until we actually sat down to play D&D with him. But we had Dylan.
I knew who he was.
You knew who he was, and you were the one who
I knew he was.
You were just like, he has 3 million Twitter followers. It's a little bit intimidating. But yeah, so he came along and he joined us for a session, which ended up being super convenient because his character that he played was an NPC that I was going to introduce later on in the campaign. Ended up looking exactly like him because of Nina's artwork, even though we didn't have a clue it was going to be Dylan.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. And he played a great character, and he actually ended up betraying the part at the end, which he did masterfully, considering...
Did it so well.
You guys fully, like, believed him, right? You thought, like, for sure, that's it. It was good.
So yeah, if you haven't seen that, it's if you just type Dungeons and Dragons into YouTube, it's Dungeons and Dragons is the YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And our stream is on that, along with all of the other streams from that weekend. Yep. So basically, there was 2 days, which there was 12 hours of streaming each day. So there's a lot of interviews and a lot of other games. Mm-hmm. So do check them out. There's a lot of great groups that we got to meet. Yep. So
we did an interview.
Girls
as well.
Got Glory. Yep. Dice Camera Action, Critical Role, Dragon Friends, Misclicks, Maze Arcana. Like, there's so many people that we got to meet. And they all have their streams up as well. So if you have more time in your life for more D&D, then do check those groups out as well.
Especially the Dragon Friends, because Benny, who is their pianist, actually played for our game as well and jumped in and did some live accompaniment for our game, which everyone seemed to love. And he does that in the Dragon Friends game as well. Really funny bunch of Australian stand-ups and comedians, improv comedians. Really, really worth it. In fact, talking to the DM of that group, we think we might have found a cool way to kind of have like almost like not quite a crossover, but like an interconnectivity between Uncharted Territory and Dragon Friends, because they have a character who would make a good foil for Matt's character. So I think we're going to have them sending each other letters bragging about what they've accomplished and stuff. So that should be quite funny. And we ended up having, like a bunch of weird stuff that ended up being very similar. So really, really good. Got to meet, like Katie said, we got to meet loads of awesome people that we've kind of half spoken to online or people that we've never met before. Really, really fun. I did a couple of games where I actually was a player, so you can check those out as well, including a very strange one where we played frogs along with people like Matt Coville and Satine Phoenix. It was really funny. Good laugh. So to answer a question in chat, Matt will be part of Uncharted Territory. He wasn't in Seattle because he couldn't fly out with us, but he is in Uncharted Territory. He will be playing a character. So if you're missing Trelly Belly, if you're missing Mr. Toffolo, you can come and watch Uncharted Territories on Fridays. I disabled sounds. Why have you done this to me? Oh well. So if you're missing him, you can come in, join us on Fridays at 8 p.m, starting on, I believe, the 30th, although we're currently talking to Wizards about whether we want to start on the 23rd as well. We'll keep you posted on that. But yeah, basically, he's going to be back in it. So if you're missing Matt, you can watch that today. For those of you who are asking, is there a normal stream today? No. Look at the actual stream where it says stream, Q&A DM prep stream today. And then it gives you an explanation. So there you go. You can check that out.
Sorry for the break, guys, but it's literally matters that are without our control.
Yeah.
Unless you're being LARP nerds, that's within your control, but you're still being LARP nerds.
Well, but also, we've paid for that. And it's like, that is a set day.
I know. So yeah, sorry for the random gap, but after that, because we are going to be doing 2 streams a week, we will be doing Uncharted Territory, as Mark has explained, but we will also be doing our regular stream on Sunday, so it's not going to affect that at all.
Yep.
It's just going to be extra stream on the Friday instead.
Yep.
So it's going to be from 8 till 10 p.m. on Friday night on this channel and on the D&D channel as well.
Yeah, I've just
so
seen
it's
a few
going to
people
be
asking
streamed
about
across
that.
both. So don't worry, we may be having a small gap at the moment, but soon you're going to have way too much of us to deal with.
Double the D&D.
Double HighRollers.
So yeah. So to explain that, just to make it really clear, you will be able to watch Uncharted Territory on twitch.tv/Yogscast and twitch.tv/DND. It's going to be streamed to both. It
will also be uploaded to both.
Exactly.
Won't it?
Yep. It'll be a VOD on Wizards. I believe they can upload it to YouTube, and it will be on Yogs Live as well. So you can watch loads of that. There's just going to be tons and tons going on. Uncharted Territory is going to be a great one. Like, if you've got friends who are like, oh, I really want to watch HighRollers, but there's way too much, Uncharted Territory is going to be a great chance to get them involved. Because basically, Nina's telling me to enlarge my webcam. It's like, no, I don't need to. Like, nobody needs to see my face. But yeah, basically, Uncharted Territory is going to be a great starting point for people to jump in. It's going to be fresh new characters, fresh new story, fresh new world. Perfect chance for people to basically jump in and start playing and start watching. So it should be really good for that. And yeah, so there you go. So yeah, stream of Annihilation, that was really exciting. What was your favourite part of going out there, Katie? Like, I know like my favourite bits, but...
I don't know. What was I? I was really nervous for the stream itself. So, but when we got into it, it was great. But I was super nervous for it. I think it was just meeting people, to be honest.
Yeah,
it was literally like just hanging out with people. And the camera did get bigger.
Yeah,
now.
I made that bigger. People complaining.
That and meeting some of the Critical Role guys was great. It was just nice to see how well everyone clicked instantly. Like, there was no sort of awkward.
Yeah.
Hi. Kind of nice to meet you. Everyone just got on so well because there was such a common topic to talk about, and yeah, it was super fun. What was your favorite part?
I think, like, for me, it was definitely the meeting people part. Like, there was a bunch of people that I've kind of interacted with but never met. So, like, Chris Perkins and the rest of DCA, like Dice Camera Action, did the episodes with them, played D&D with them, never met them in person. So being able to just, like, jump in and actually, like, shake Chris Perkins' hands and, like, chat to Anna and chat to Holly and chat to Jared.
Yeah.
Jared, like, I think all of us gave him our magic cards, didn't we? We were just like, here you go.
Yeah.
Take all these magic cards.
Yeah, I gave him mine.
Yeah, and, like, meeting those guys, hanging out with Matt Colville, who... He and I have very similar opinions on RPG stuff, so me and him had some great conversations just about what we think about D&D streaming, what we think about running a campaign as a DM and stuff like that. Hanging out with Matt and the Critical Role guys, like, I've met them, I know them fairly well, but it's always fun just hanging out with them and just having a good laugh. Yeah, I think, like, just generally being there. Like, and also just, like, I think it did wonders for my confidence about, yeah, HighRollers is pretty kick-ass. Like, everybody was so complimentary. Everybody was so wonderful and so encouraging to us. Like, I really came out of it buzzing and feeling like, fuck yeah, our stream's amazing.
Yeah, it was a very big boost for us in terms of realizing sort of what we've managed to build, I guess, for ourselves. And we didn't ever think that we'd get invited to something like this. So it was sort of... It was crazy. It was just such a big event, and I felt going into it that we were quite small, and then I left
100%.
feeling like, you know what, that was great.
Yeah.
We did great, and I felt like everything went really smooth for us, which was great.
Yeah, I was really proud of the the actual stream I did for the stream of Annihilation. Like, I was really happy with sort of like the flow of it, the pacing. A little bit annoyed that I cocked the puzzle up, even though I didn't, but the version I gave Kim was the cocked up version. But like, that annoyed me. But generally, I was very proud of like the whole thing. I've just seen
I'm glad that Kim had that puzzle, by the way, because I was so ill that I had the thing in front of me, and I wasn't even looking at it. I wasn't even thinking about solving it, because my brain was just like, I am so unwell. I couldn't think. And a couple of people have said some things about the stream on Sunday as well, like, why didn't Laura step in and say something at this point? And it was because I literally couldn't think.
There was,
I literally was like, my brain has checked out. I can't defend anyone, or
I mean, you were worse than me, but I was like a day behind you, and like trying to do that stream on Sunday took every ounce of like willpower I had. I was just like, and then this is happening, blah blah, like trying to come up with stuff on the spot. So it was a bit of a rough one, but I think that was the only downside. I wish, like, if we hadn't been ill, that would have been like a million times better. It was still really fantastic. I saw a couple of questions in chat I'm just going to answer. Will the Stream of Annihilation stuff get uploaded straight to Wizard of the Coast, etc.? I believe so. Once again, I don't know their process. How quickly they get stuff up on YouTube or how quickly they get stuff up on Twitch is up to them. Obviously, with Yogs Live and the Yogscast Twitch... Twitch subscribers, you can watch it instantly. Yogs Live will normally be about at least 24 hours. It's like a minimum of 24 hours before it goes up on Yogs Live. But you'll get all the regular HighRollers and everything else as well. And I think having it on Sunday and Fridays means that, like, by the time Friday's Uncharted Territory is done, you can watch that and then jump straight into the live game, the regular game, and then by the time that happens, then you can watch that as well. Man, my throat went really weird. Sorry. The other question I saw is somebody was saying, which main campaign character has an arc next? So I'm going to talk a bit more about this in the upcoming prep session, but because there's 3 loose kind of threads that I want to adjust immediately before I start the process of what I call the kind of the wrap-up of, like, starting to kind of finish off this campaign effectively, like dealing with a bunch of things. It's likely going to be cam stuff next, because we've got the missing Lightborn children, which is something that we set up with Cassandra saying, I'll help you guys, but you need to help me with this. And also the stuff that I introduced during the game from Penny Arcade, which is that this Karen Blackhurst character is after Cam and is definitely, there's something going on there. So that's going to become the next kind of probably main character arc. We still have Alphadon. That's still a loose thread that I want to get wrapped up. We still have a few things in Talis Val itself that we just need to wrap up there. Then obviously we've got this Felania and the Broken Sky overarching plot. What I will say is the stuff with the True Korak and Juto will probably actually... That was never something I intended to do in part of the campaign, but because it's become such a big part, that's probably going to get added on as kind of a, post-credits epic sort of like last kind of burst of content, really. So, because it had always planned to be that the conflict with the Broken Sky and Felania will form sort of like the finale of the campaign, but I think that after that, the party will travel to Brassaris, will deal with the Dragonborn and the real Korak, and that'll kind of be the last thing that we do. So that's to give you a rough idea of where the campaign's going. And then once this campaign is finished, that's going to be it. That's going to be the last of this world. That's going to be the last of these characters' stories. And then the next campaign is going to be completely new. It's going to have loads of custom content, loads of custom races and classes, whole new world, and it should be really good. So that's to give you a lot of information about the future, really. So there you go.
So don't worry. Even though it ends, doesn't mean we're stopping.
HighRollers
it just means it's going to evolve into something new.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's fine. Because we don't want to keep going to the point where everyone's like, okay, I'm bored of this one now.
Yeah, and I think, it's like...
And we don't want to get too high level either, where we're like, just...
Yeah, it's like... Looking at Critical Role in the most recent episodes, like, those guys are like 17th, 18th level now. And I mean, Matt's got, like, he's always had a plan, and he's had a vision of how that's going to wrap up, and he's kind of told me about, what's going to happen and how he's planned for it. But, I mean, he was saying to me, like, yeah, high level doing it on stream at a high level is very hard because there's so much stuff. Everybody's so powered. It's difficult to make fair encounters. And I don't really want to have that challenge with this campaign. I'm still learning the ropes in a lot of ways myself. So I kind of want to wrap things up around level 15, 16. I don't really want to go higher than that. So I want to wrap
as much as we'd love to be super high level, and it'd be amazing fun.
Well, I mean, you say that, but then also, like, you know, when you start adding things like 9th level spells in the mix, and, you know, you have those moments now when you're in a combat and you're like, oh god, what do I do? Do I cast this spell? Do I use this? And it's like, once you add, like, this spell that can potentially change the frickin' world, what, you know, that makes it so much more stressful. So I think that that's definitely, you know, something I kind of want to kind of face off. Ravenscape asks, Mark, do you ever suffer from fatigue after a game? If so, how do you handle it? Generally, I'm pretty good, I think, because we're playing with friends, and this is kind of our off-camera game as well as our on-camera game. Like, we play it as a group of mates. I generally don't get too fatigued. I'm starting to get there with the campaign now, but I think that's more because Iraq was a world I created because I thought, oh, this will be a short thing. HighRollers won't take off. It won't be like a 2.5-year campaign or whatever. And so a lot of it wasn't thought out. A lot of it was quite standard fantasy trope. And I think, like, now I'm kind of, like, eager to work on the next more unique thing. So I'm kind of a bit like, oh yeah, I kind of want to get this done a bit, but I'm still going to see it through properly. But I don't generally get fatigue. I generally, you know, we always walk away from a game feeling pretty positive, I think, unless we're ill or anything like that. I think everybody kind of walks away from it kind of going like, yeah, I think anyway.
Yeah. No, it's good, yeah, unless you're ill, and then it's difficult.
It's always hard, and, like, I think Kim suffers from that really badly. Like, she just, like, feels, you know, gets ill or feels tired, and so sometimes she kind of comes away a bit sort of exhausted, but I think she still enjoys it. And I know, like, me and you, when we've had our ill days, like, it is hard, but, you know, at the same time we still want to play, so we do it.
I'm rarely ill, which is why it was such an of all the weekends for me to get ill. It had to happen when we were in Seattle. But we pushed through, and at the end of the day, it's still fun. Like, if we didn't want to do it, we wouldn't do it anymore. So it's and what I like about it is it means that I definitely get to see my friends every week. So it's a way to see people and socialize, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's it. And that's the nice thing with D&D. It's a social game, right? You actually get to do this stuff and hang out with people. The other thing as well is I think, like, switching over to a brand new campaign once this one's finished is a great chance for us to start doing things that we've kind of wanted to do for a while, but actually trying to go back and do it now is going to be a nightmare. Things like audio-only podcast version, brand new, you know, decent, like, overlays, and making sure we've got all the information properly stored. I'd like to have a proper sort of, not quite a wiki, but, like, and the Yogscast wiki guys do an amazing job of recapping everything, but I'd like to have something where I can, you know, be a bit more involved in that and kind of be a bit more involved in helping people get information about the world and things like that. It's also things like being able to put a lot of the custom stuff in the new campaign on things like DM's Guild so other people can play it. You know, I'm really, like, people really loved having the Lightborn. Loads of people have started playing those characters after seeing Cam, and I'd like to do more of that as well, basically. So, I'm just going through. So we got a couple of donations I'm going to read. Ron Rapara said, I was just rewatching this Stream of Annihilation game. I do have a question. Yay. I play a Kalashite human bard from ARM for Storm King's Thunder. Is all that lore stuff going to be in the module? A lot of the stuff I did in the Stream of Annihilation game is made up. The name of the scholar, the tomb that they went to, is in the module, but a lot of that was just made up as a prologue. The new module is all set in this jungle realm called Chult, and that's separate from the main sort of Forgotten Realms continent. So a lot of that stuff I just made up. Tucker2525, Mark Discord wants to know, why are you a traitor and in the Critical Role Discord but not in your HR Discord? I barely use Discord, Tucker, to be honest. Like, I joined it and I don't think I've logged in. I think this is the first time I've logged into Discord to do the stream with Katie for, like, months. Yeah, I barely use it. I don't use any. I should use it more. I've got a lot of Discords that I'm a part of, and I don't speak in any of them. I barely even, like, we've got a Yogscast one just for friends gaming, and I'm not even in that one, to be honest. So same.
too much to keep up with for me.
We should get involved in the HR one though, because
we should.
It's a good community.
I am on the HR one, but
I'll join it.
I don't usually join it immediately. Join it right now. But yeah, I don't really join it. I'm gonna click on it now because you've made me want to. Mwahaha. Hey nerds.
Darkslayer 98.
There we go. See, I typed
said,
in it.
I'm bored here. A little bit of money for you. Bye. That's it. Thank you very much. And Kid Kaboom donated as well. Good afternoon, Mark Senpai. I hope you put Trouty and Camulus through the ringer of emotional pain, but also let him fix the problems in his family, and the others, of course, some happy music for Cam, and then there's a YouTube link. It'll be interesting, because Trot doesn't often do the emotional, kind of serious side of Cam, but I think I have to touch on it because of some of the story stuff we've set up, so that's going to be an interesting one for sure. Whereas, like, I think, like, with you, doing all the Alphadon and sort of the Winter Spy stuff was great, because I know that you're super invested in Elora, and that, like, you emotionally get quite serious with it sometimes, so, like, doing that stuff was way more comfortable.
It's going to be interesting for Chris, because he specifically chose Cam as a character because he was sort of... He liked to have that persona and have that wall up, and it's easier to play if you're not getting sort of emotional about it. So I think it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, he wrote some of this more serious stuff, so it'll be interesting to see how he kind of approaches that and things.
I think it's going to be a nice challenge because he is so good at playing the confident, and the comedy. So I think I'm looking forward to it. It'll be really nice to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there is definitely that other side, and yeah.
And I'm going to try and find ways, like, because the Karen stuff is very Cam focused, I want the Lightborn kid stuff to be about everybody, not just Cam, but obviously there'll be a stronger tie there. So I need to figure out the best ways that I'm going to do that.
Question for Katie, has she ever LARPed? I have not. I hear the stories of LARP, but I have never LARPed.
You don't want to come and set yourself on fire?
What, like Chris, and he's got a big hole in his outfit where he got set on fire? Sounds great. No, I haven't. Things are too busy. I don't want to add another thing to my list of hobbies right now, to be honest. With work events and D&D 2 times a week now, and it's just a lot. So I don't think my wallet would be too happy at me buying a lot of LARP gear either. So
yeah,
we'll leave that for now. I'll just listen to the stories. It does sound very interesting, though.
Axe Forecast, am I tempted to go full George Martin and kill anyone at the end? It's not up to me. Like, honestly, like, all jokes aside, I don't get to decide that stuff. Excuse me. Obviously, I'll put them against challenging encounters, and that is definitely... Challenging encounters is a hurdle I'm having to consider, mainly because of a certain person on this Discord right now being incredibly overpowered. So it's making encounters hard.
I am, but the other guys are not.
And that's the thing.
That's the problem. The problem is I'm with like 3 glass cannons. Yeah. Well, 1 glass cannon, 2 glass cannons, and 1 cleric.
Thing is Cam is a bit more resilient because he's got a higher AC. He's got a lot of magic to help him as well. Like, he can create illusions and he can create the guardians that help him. Juto is just such a glass cannon. Like, 1 big hit. She's
very
down.
Squishy.
Yeah. But at the same time, she's got a lot of tools there to help minimize that. Like, if she's using her key points to, like, dodge and have, cause disadvantage against her, that's quite a big thing. But, it's annoying because in your forms, you can soak up so much damage. Whereas if I put you against monsters that hit really hard, and in the situation they happen to hit Kim or Cam or the guest or whoever, or Trell, they go down straight away. Yeah. So it's
most
really
of the time
to balance.
And it's a lot of the case is I'm in an animal form looking to soak up damage, but because Kim's dealing more damage, Juto's dealing more damage than Elora is. Yeah. So even though she's physically larger and should look more threatening, Juto's still the one that's doing the damage to the enemy, so they're more likely to turn on her and not. Yeah. So it's difficult. I do try and take the damage, but she's just too powerful when she fights, and then she gets hit hard, and
it's easier when you guys are fighting like non-human enemies, because non-human enemies aren't always that smart, and they'll go for the biggest thing that they can see. But the problem is because you guys fight a lot of humanoid enemies, and especially intelligent enemies like mages or whatever, they will just go like, well, no, I can deal with you in a moment, like, I'll deal with this thing, which is going to kill me a lot quicker. Boom, you know, etc. So it's tricky. I don't want to kind of create mechanical things that fuck over Katie specifically, because that's not fair. She's just playing her class. I think I've just got to...
It's not my fault that druids are OP, guys.
Exactly.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault. And I shouldn't punish you, or I shouldn't create effects that only affect you, because that's not fair. What I should be trying to do is find interesting ways to make the, you know, the scenario or the terrain...
Trap card.
I forgot the fucking donation sounds. Like, you know, I've got to find ways that kind of twist things around a little bit, or, you know, make enemies that, you know, do balance the encounter out generally rather than specifically. So it's interesting on that side of things, because it's always interesting and I think, like, you know, Critical Role has the same problem. Like, Keyleth is so powerful,
mega powerful,
and like her and Grog, like the two of them together are scary.
Yeah, I was talking to Marissa about it at the stream, actually, and she was just saying, like, it's ridiculous. I think the next level she's able to cast spells in her wild shapes, and she gets unlimited wild shapes and stuff.
That's like 18.
It's crazy.
It's a bit different. It's when you get to those levels, it is just
but even then, she's been very, very powerful for a long time, and I think it's good for our campaign to have me, because we don't have a tank, and if we didn't have that, we would have been So because Trell as well, Trell used to always go down. He doesn't go down as much now, but he can also deal a lot of damage. Like, if he was to do that blight spell that I did, and he could do just as much damage.
Yeah, and he can even do a little bit more, you know, with things like Hex.
Yeah.
Like and it always comes down to this, like, early on, and especially with folks like Matt and Trot, who, and in fact all of you actually, you know, none of you are particularly power gaming it. You're not playing every round of combat optimally, but if you did...
No, because I half the time don't even know what I'm doing.
Exactly,
I'm like, let's try this, let's see what works.
And the same with Kim as well. Like, sometimes, like, Kim is, you know, if she really just power gamed it, she could be so frustrating to fight against. But because you guys don't do that, it does ever so slightly change the balance a little bit, because as a warlock, like, Trell can output so much scary damage, and he gets it back after a short rest as well, and even just his cantrips are nuts. I think the only one who is definitely sort of, you know, below par is Cam, but then he takes things on from the support role anyway. Like, he's doing a lot of tricksy stuff, which helps immensely. But he also took the level in Rogue as well, which meant that he didn't get he's got higher level spells now because he took another level in Cleric, but he did get the Rogue so that his daggers were more powerful, which I think was a smart move. For sure. And like you say, Cam's got that support element to him with, like, the Guardian of Faith and stuff like that. He's very much the support rather than the damage, because we've got Juto as the damage. So it's interesting. It's an interesting little group, I think we've got. That's it. It's definitely, and I think, like, it's interesting because in comparison, the Uncharted Territory group is going to be very different, because you have well, you have a healer, which is Matt's character because he's playing a bard, but I know Matt's not going to play him as somebody who's going to constantly be looking out and making sure everybody's healed. He's going to play the character, whereas you've got like Kim's going to be playing a fucking bear barbarian, which are, again, a fucking nightmare. You're playing a rogue, which you're the glass cannon now. Like, your damage output can be insane, but at the same time, you'll go down super easy if you get a big hit. And then you've got Trot playing a sorcerer, which is the king of burst damage. Like, they are, like, here's a massive, huge spell of just damage and AoE and everything else. So it's going to be really, really interesting. And
Kim's going to be playing... Kim's going to be playing a barbarian, which will be good for her, because she's going to be completely different to Juto, and that she can actually take a hit now. I mean, and
Kayla already has more HP than Juto, and she's level 5. She's half Juto's level, and she has more HP.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Although, to be honest, I think a lot of the lack of HP from people in our current group is that they didn't have constitution modifiers when we were leveling up. Whereas I did, so I got a hell of a lot more hit points leveling up than any of them did.
Well, that's it. You've got hit points even in Allura. You've got good hit points in Allura form,
I've got
and then you have
80 HP.
Yeah,
80 HP as Allura and Wild Shape.
It's nuts.
So, which is just because my stats happen to be better. That's literally what it was. I rolled better, which is nobody's fault, because we all rolled we didn't take average stats, we rolled for them. So maybe we should have all just taken average.
I think, well,
it's interesting though.
It was interesting because we made our characters for Uncharted Territory on the plane, and I think at least 2 of the group took the standard array, and then the other 2 rolled for them. But everybody kind of ended up about average. Nobody was particularly higher than the others, so
no.
I think that worked out quite well. And I think for the new campaign, I'm definitely going to kind of implement some things of like, if you have below X, you get to re-roll, or you can take the standard array instead, and things like that. I think it's a much better way of doing it. We got some donations I'm going to read cool. Just quickly. Avian. I recently created a new player character race of 1 foot 6 inches to 2 foot tall bipedal frog-legged leaf beetles. Wow. To balance out the wall crawling and daily 1 hour of flight, would it make sense to do an extra d4 and extra d6 for frost and bludgeoning damage? I wouldn't necessarily... It depends on how you want to run it. Like, 1 hour of flight's not a big deal. If you look at races like the Aarakocra, they get flight all the time. What you're likely to find is that if they've got wall crawling and flight, that's pretty much all their racials. They don't get anything else. No dark vision, no nothing else. They literally just get that. I don't think you need to give them particular vulnerabilities and things like that. Maybe give them some RP stuff, like, you know, they're super gross and, like, I don't know, things like that. So, you know, balance it out that way, but I don't think you need to make any mechanical changes. James Z3, hey Mark, how did you get the backstories from your characters? Did you work with them? Did you work with the characters? Also, I love your campaign and all your stuff. I take so much inspiration for it. Also, if I sent in my DM's guide, could you guys sign it? A bunch of questions there. So, first question, yeah, we did work on the characters. So, what we did is when we started HighRollers, Trot and KT came around to my house and they sat down. And you guys, I kind of gave you guys like a 1-sheet or a 2-sheet like world document, which was like, here's some information about the world, here's some bunch of stuff about races, have a look. If you've got any questions, you can ask me. And then we sat down together and we came up with the character's history and sort of where their character fell in the world and things like that. Same thing with Matt, same thing with Kim, just sat down with those guys individually and went through. And it kind of worked both ways, right? Like, so a couple of things I had on my sheet, you know, Katie went, oh, can I do this? Can I do that with it? Could we make this? I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And then we added a bunch of stuff. Same with like Trot, like he wanted to create this thing called the Buckman family, so I've now added into my world how they came around and etc etc. So it works both ways.
The elven spires were sort of what heavily inspired Elora to be so moon sort of focused and stuff like, because the reason Elora is a moon elf basically, but she's a high elf in your world, but I saw the description for moon elves in the Sword Coast Adventures guide, and I liked that description of an elf for personality type. So for the personality and everything, I wanted her to be like that. I wanted her to look that way. And then Mark's spires heavily influenced how that fit into the world and where we went from there.
And it was also it was your idea of wanting to play the Moon Elves that inspired me to theme the spires around the seasons and then day-night, so that we could have the moon spire, basically. So it kind of worked both ways. Like, I had this idea of I wanted these kind of gated elven communities, but it was you wanting to play a moon elf that inspired me. Oh, that'd be kind of cool if you had one for each season and then one for day and night, basically, or the sun and moon. So that kind of worked out quite nicely. In terms of can we sign your DM's guide if you sign it in? I believe so. You're gonna need to wait for the new PO box for the new office though, because there's no point sending it to the old office now. So once that gets posted up, you're more than welcome to send it in. Just address it to HighRollers, put a note in there reminding me who it's for and from whom, and we'll get it signed basically. Graphite HB. Katie, have you considered giving the Frost Giant belt to Cassandra? I feel like the Paladin could benefit from super strength more than the Druid, who can already Scorpion it up. I get that she's an NPC, but it's also a cool magic item, but still. What do you think about it?
I get so much about this freaking belt, I swear to God. The reason I've got it, because everyone else has so many magic items that they can't attune to anything else, and Kim also wanted the Ion Stone. She wanted that. Yeah. So, and also I find it funny. It's a cool item.
Yeah. You're more than welcome. Like, this is the thing, right? A lot of people get so hung up on like, but it's not optimal for Katie to have the belt. It's like, who fucking cares? Like, it's fun. Like, she wants
it's not optimal, but for RP reasons and everything, it's really quite funny because she was the smallest person and now she's bigger and
stronger and like you're the strongest one. Like, But also, that's just not how it always plays out. Like, you don't have to always give it to the most optimal person. Like, how many magic items did Trot hoard as Cam? Like, literally every magic item that they found for the first 6 months, Trot hoarded, because that's his characters. He wanted those items, so...
I just want a thing, guys. I just want something.
Because you've got the Moonbow, which is, like, basically story-based. It's like getting your story artifact. Yeah. And I think the only other magic item you've ever had was the Bronze Griffin, because nobody else needed it. And a Wand of Magic
Although
Missile.
I did give it to Trell. I gave the bronze... As soon as I got flying, I gave the Bronze Griffin to Trell.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Basically, I'm not attuned to anything else, and... I wanted an item.
Oh, yeah.
And Kim, to be honest, well, we did look at all of the items, and you picked those items. It was a random loot generator, right? It was random. Wasn't it, the loot that you got?
For those items, yeah. For those 3 items, I randomly rolled them, yeah.
So they were randomly rolled items. They weren't specific for any character. And the Ion Stone that Kim has helps her anyway, because it does... help her stats.
Well, the thing is because Kim's playing a monk, she never had a good wisdom, so she's had to invest a lot of like ability score improvements in upping her wisdom just to make it useful. And that Ion Stone of +2 wisdom makes a big difference. Like, it's an extra 1 AC, it's an extra 1 to all of her DCs for her elemental stuff, for her stunning strikes. It adds, good value to the monk, basically. So I think
her stats needed the improvement. My wisdom was already 18.
Yeah.
It didn't really need an improvement at the moment.
You could have boosted it
do
to
that with
20, but meh.
Yeah, I can do that with
ability score,
the next ability score. And yeah, like I think, it's good. It works for Juto. It works for Cam with the dagger.
Yeah, he got the Dragon Slayer short sword and stuff like that because he gets sneak attack and things. Also,
I'm not saying I'm going to keep those items forever. Like, it's not like I could one day be like, you know what, you take this. I don't need it. We'll see. Yeah. But I've only had it for like an episode. So. And
also, like, again, like, you should never feel like you have to get rid of it. And in terms of giving magic items to NPCs, I never expect any of the characters to do that. Whilst they might be friends with some of these NPCs, I don't think that, like, it's necessarily, like... There's also this element of, like, knowing that even, yes, okay, maybe the Paladin could benefit from it, but really, how much is Cassandra doing for the world compared to the characters in the adventuring party? Remember that they are the heroes. They're the guys who are going out there and stopping the Broken Sky and doing all this kind of stuff. Also, Cassandra's not going to adventure with them forever as well, so...
Yeah, she's not around a lot, so we wouldn't actually benefit from it if...
Exactly.
An NPC got it who wasn't around. Although it is a nice idea. But, yeah, we'll see. Maybe when Trell comes back, Trell can have a belt. I don't know. We'll see.
That'd be pretty
Elora will just... do what she thinks is best.
Considering that the belt has, like, RP things of making the person more womanly and things like that, but not necessarily changing the gender. That'd be pretty funny.
It would be pretty funny.
Yoizamon, I can never pronounce his full name, asks, Mark, have you ever massively overestimated a group's power and wiped them immediately? Asking after a disastrous game my DM hosted last month where we died within about 20 minutes after he threw a dragon at us. I think that's definitely, there's probably some elements of inexperience there. As a DM, I generally have a rough idea on, like, okay, yeah, this is way too overpowered for the party. It's just going to wipe them out immediately. Even if it's technically a balanced encounter, if I can look at a monster and go like, oh man, this area of attack spell is going to decimate them because none of them have good dex saves, etc. I generally have a good idea on that. I've never had a situation where I've done a TPK in like one encounter. I've had games where I've killed 2 PCs and the rest have run away because they kind of gone, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, and then run. But yeah, I've never really had that problem. I think you've really got to be reasonable. There's some DMs who are just like, well, if they go into the Dragon's Lair, then that's up to them. And I'm like, yes, that's true, but you've got to clearly signpost that this dragon is ridiculously powerful and is probably going to murder them, because most sensible people, if they care about their characters, won't go in there at that point. And if they do, it's probably because they either want the lols or they're not fully invested in the game. Do you know what I mean?
They want the lols.
Yeah, there are some groups out there who they're not invested in the story of the characters. They just want to have a good time, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It just makes the game a very different one. Emmett Ron says, hi guys, congrats on nearly hitting 50 episodes. episodes. Big thank you for making the last year and half so entertaining. In particular, making my current A-level revision a bit easier. Much love. Thank you very much, Emma. It's very kind of you.
Good luck with the revision. Good luck with exams.
God, man, I'm so lucky. I'm so glad I don't have to do things like exams. I was terrible at them.
I was terrible too. I was awful.
I was kind of the kid, and it's kind of bad. Like I was very sort of, I was very fortunate. I was the type of guy that was just like, I had this idea for exams where I was like, if I haven't learnt it by now, revising's not going to help. I would just go into exams and I would just do them, and I got like C's and B's. Like I generally I'd get like lowest to D, highest to B, and I just was middle of the road. I was king of middle of the road. And my parents hated me because it was just like I never put effort in. All the teachers would say the same thing: Mark has lots of potential if he would stop talking and actually try. And but I always had this thing of like, if I haven't learned it in the class, I'm not going to learn it by trying to sit down reading on my own. So it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Don't do me, kids. Don't do me. I got lucky.
Try your best. It's all you can do.
I kind of want Nalisi to encounter Elora after she got the magic item. I want to see his reaction. Yeah, that would be pretty funny, actually. That's going to be interesting.
Would be.
Oh, Nalisi, sweet, precious winter child.
Yeah. Nalisi. Yeah. One day I will write a letter back to him, but just... Well, there's been giants and stuff. It's not been optimal time.
That arc went on a lot longer than I expected it to, so yeah, it's definitely been a bit of a long ride. I'm kind of glad that we had the game with Alyssa was a bit sort of lighthearted and a bit more sort of like, you know, there was some like obviously some big stuff in it, but it was kind of a bit of a way of saying like, yeah, after all this depressing dwarven failure stuff, let's just have a bit of a nonsense kind of. Yeah, there's a weird HighRollers convention thing going on. It
was quite refreshing just to not, especially being not very well, it was quite refreshing to just have one of those episodes, because they are like every now and then you kind of need something like that where you just have a bit of a lighthearted one instead of the hardcore story stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, 100%. Like, and it's, you know, for me, I always love bringing recurring characters back. So it was really fun to do Trixania again and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
was always a laugh. And it's kind of funny that it's kind of not quite reconciliation, but it's kind of like she's now a semi-good guy. That's always quite fun. I saw somebody ask, there was a question from Crazy Narwhal, is there ever going to be any further development into Trell's backstory, or will Matt not be back in time? I don't want to do stuff without Matt there, to be honest. Like, I feel like that, you know, I wouldn't want to go into Trell's character story without Matt being a part of that, because Trell is his character, and I don't feel that that's really fair for me to kind of go into that without him really being around. Hopefully he'll come, you know, once, you know, he'll rejoin and we can explore that, but that's really up to him. Same with if he wants to be on the next campaign. Again, like I totally appreciate that, you know, Matt wanted to pursue his theatre stuff, but also, you know, coming in every Sunday, like when you're working 9 to 5, you know, the rest of the week, is hard. Like, you know, it's hard on us, and it's not super easy to do. So
I think that is literally just like because of the time that we do it it's on a Sunday, it's on a weekend, so it is a commitment. And it's understandable that people want to take time away, but that's not saying that he's never going to come back. But yeah, it's still fun. It's just a big commitment.
Yeah,
for us.
It is. It's a lot of stuff. People were saying that you were considerably louder than me, so I've just turned you down a little bit.
Okay.
It should be fine now. If those of you who are asking questions, I am trying to pick out questions in chat, but obviously chat moves pretty damn quickly. If you desperately want it to be answered, the best thing is a donation, but please don't feel you have to. Like, I am trying to answer them from chat as well. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to, you know, donate to get an answer. It's just a bit easier for me to see it. Kaldach donated and asked, thanks for the awesome stream, and it was so cool to meet you guys at MCM. How was it working on the new HR spin-off with Wizards, and how much Iron Brew and Coke is involved in the average stream? A lot of average Coke, I can tell you that much, and I mean the fizzy drink, not the hard drug. Considering I drink way too much of it. I don't know about you and Iron Brew. You don't drink that much Iron Brew, do you? Because it's hard to get down here.
No, well, it's not that hard to get. It's pretty common down here. It's really common, actually. But no, I don't tend to, unless I'm at the office, I don't tend to have actually have soft drinks in the house.
Yeah, that's good.
But Mark once found it extremely hilarious that I was buying a bottle of Iron Brew in Sainsbury's, and he cracked up.
So
I don't
funny.
know why you found that so funny.
It's just
You're
because
like, you're Scottish and you're buying
it's
Iron
just
Brew.
filling the stereotype. I love it. Like, it was so funny. Like, it was just the fact that you were like so excited. You were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have an Iron Brew as well. It was just great.
I hadn't had one in a while.
I know, that's why it was funny. It's just like, just getting back to the roots. But yeah, so in terms of, what was the other question in that? It was
how is it working with
how is it
Wizards
working
on
on
the
Wizards?
new stuff?
Amazing. So to give you guys some behind the scenes intel, the way it worked was months and months and months ago, we started talking about this kind of partnership and the Tomb of Annihilation stuff and the Stream of Annihilation. And Greg Tito, who's a lovely man, you saw him on the Stream of Annihilation.
Super nice.
Super lovely man, who's been so supportive of HighRollers in general.
Yeah.
He basically...
All of Wizards have been... That's one thing I just want to say is all of Wizards of the Coast have been incredibly supportive.
Amazing.
And the entire trip to Seattle, they thought of everything. It was so stress-free, worry-free. It was just great.
I mean, I've done a few things like that for like work in the games industry. I've never had anything that stress-free. Like, everything was ready. They like gave us lift credits so we could get around Seattle, so we didn't have to worry about transport. You know, the hotels were all fine. There were no problems. Just even like the way that the studio was done was just so good. But yeah, so Greg...
They made sure we were fed and everything, and they gave us... There was so much like swag and everything as well, like for us, which was just so nice of them to do. Yeah,
you'll see some of that swag. You'll see some of that swag on when we do the next stream. But super lovely people. But yeah, so Greg, he sent me kind of like a PowerPoint, like a presentation, like a Google Doc, which basically had like, here's information about what the new module's about. Here are some of the key beats. Here's some key characters, and I kind of had to write the story or the campaign guide based on that without any details. So I wrote up like a, week by week, here's roughly kind of what I want to hit, sent that back to Wizards. They approve it. They kind of say like, yeah, this looks amazing, send it back to me. And then maybe like 3 weeks before the Stream of Annihilation, they did send me like a preview copy of the new module, like still, being worked on, obviously, with that I got to go through and kind of go, okay, now I can get some more specific details and kind of pull out things that I need. The HighRollers Uncharted Territory is going to be very different to the module itself in that, because I only had this presentation, it's really just touching on a few kind of key points. I'm not going to be running like this specific dungeon from the module. That's not going to happen. It's going to be like, I'm going to touch on maybe key moments and things like that. But it was really good. Interesting thing, Nina actually drew artwork of the villain of the piece, of the module. But she had to, but because he is such an iconic villain in the Dungeons and Dragons universe, they requested if she could make changes to fit the art direction of it. So Nina actually had to work with the art team and kind of change her design for him to match with those. So, we're going to have a few bits of artwork we can throw up on the stream and things like that, so you guys get a better visual idea and things like that.
Nina's done super well with the art. What happened with our character art was that we got to a deadline where we had to kind of make the art, but we hadn't rolled our character stats or anything yet. So it was very much like, okay, you need a description of your character now. Can we have it? And then we'll just go from there. And so the artwork actually came before a lot of the character details did, which was interesting this time. But it was super fun. Yeah. And Nina's always great at it. I think we had
she
to ask
enjoys
for
it.
Any changes.
Yeah, I think she enjoys it as well, because like her favorite thing, like character design, that's kind of what her passion and her love is. So I think like being able to kind of take these vague descriptions and make these characters really, it's something she personally really enjoys as well, which is nice. Triforce Cultist said, hey Marky Moo, do you have a fave main character arc to work on? Honestly, the Winterspire stuff so far, that was definitely my favorite that I've done. I really loved it. I loved the location. I liked the kind of the story going on behind the scenes that the PCs didn't quite pick up on, the kind of trying to keep it all a secret with loads of deception checks and stealth checks and things that they didn't hit. That was really fun. Just kind of watching all of that fall into place and sort of like the horror on people's faces, that was really good. And the fact that it tied in so brilliantly with all the Crown Ren stuff as well, like that was really, really cool.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it was.
I don't think I've forgotten about him, Katie.
Oh no, I know you haven't. I just try and put it out of my mind. That's
Yeah.
due to a problem for now.
Well,
So you can think of that.
it might be all of your problems soon.
Oh, I know it will be, but for
um,
now,
yeah. Sky
I have more.
Silverwing.
Elora doesn't want to think about it. She's got other
She's got
things
other
in her
things to
brain.
worry about, yeah, for sure. Sky Silverwing says, when are you going to run a Tales of Equestria game, and who would you ideally have players in it? I'm actually planning one of those. I'm planning a one-shot of that for Tabletop Weekly with a bunch of people, so keep an eye out on that. Scarlet Ajax, hey Mark, how was running a game without models like you did last week? Fine. Theatre of the Mind is something that I used to do all the time. I still like to do it from now and then. It is a bit more difficult, I think, especially when sort of people are really struggling to visualize where they are and what's going on. Minis and maps really help, but it also makes things much, much simpler if you can just basically be like, Theatre of the Mind, and like you don't have to have Dwarven Forge or Dry Erase maps, because that's the way the game was meant to be played, so...
It sometimes does kind of bog it down a little bit in terms of, oh, I'm too far away by one square to get to them. This changes everything. So it's quite nice sometimes to,
Because you just
especially
go,
if
am I
you've
in
got,
range? Yeah.
yeah, especially if you've got something like we had Alyssa as a guest for one episode. We had to get through that part of the story in that certain amount of time. To add a map and all of that stuff to it as well would have probably delayed it a little bit and meant we went over the time limit that we actually had. So
Yeah,
there's also that.
for sure. Yeah, I think like that's a key thing. Like that game was very well paced. Like the encounter that was planned, technically that was a very hard encounter for them. The two vampire spawn and Franco, who's a master thief. That was technically a hard encounter, but because of the way it was being played, that Franco wasn't trying to kill them, the fact that they had like allies there, freaking elemental form, it really made sure that it was over very quickly, and that's exactly what you want for that kind of one shot quick thing of like get everybody in, everybody has a couple of turns, boom, you're done kind of thing. So that really worked out well. I'm going to answer a couple more questions from the chat this time. Mark, is there any extra races and extra material you should feel be in the player's handbook? No, I think the player's handbook offers a good range of stuff for people starting out the game. I think having extra races and things like Elemental Evil and Volo's Guide is a good step, because it means that people that want a few more options and experienced DMs can add those in, but I think the player's handbook has a lot of good stuff. Todd Lepera, the Sunken Tower in the Underdark seemed really important. Do you see the party venturing to the Garden of Stone, revisiting the Petrified Cleric? No. So many people ask about this. I just don't think that you guys have got too much other stuff to worry about. Like, yes, it's interesting, and I get that for the audience, it's like this mystery of like, who the fuck is he? It seems really important, but I kind of like the fact that, yeah, in terms of the party, they're like, well, it's just some fucking statue. Like, yeah, I'm probably sure there is something interesting about it, but we've got bigger shit to worry about right now.
I would, yeah, if we had the option, if we had the luxury of not having other things to deal with, then yes, it would be great to go back. But at the moment, with the broken sky and everything, to take that detour would just be really irresponsible of them, given the things that they have to do and the people that they have to defend. So,
and I think as well, like, you know, it's the pacing of the campaign. I don't want the like, if this was a kind of at-home sandbox, you know, more open game, sure, that'd be fine and dandy, but I think I've purposely set the pace of this game to constantly keep the adventurers pushing forward. Like, there is something waiting, there's something going on right now that you've got to deal with, because I think that makes it more interesting as a stream for you guys. There's never this moment of like, well, what do you guys want to do? Like, I don't know, do you fancy going back to the Underdark? Yeah, I guess so. Like, there's none of that. It's like, oh my god, there's a problem, oh my god, there's a problem, oh my god, there's a problem. So I think
definitely, yeah, because it's always the case that if we go on a detour and do something, it does always affect the broken sky and how far along their plans they get.
Yeah,
so that's always in the back of our mind is, oh, if we go away and do this right now, Felania's going to be planning and then it's going to be worse. And so that's something that I always think about anyway.
Yeah.
As Laura.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's why, you know, I think that is a mark or a sign of, you know, having realistic villains and a realistic campaign. Is like, just because the party decide that they want to go on a holiday to some rando dungeon or rando plot point that they missed, you know, 20 episodes ago, the bad guys' plans don't stop. They're going to continue forward, and so you got to factor that in, I think. Aaron Bear says, was there a HighRollers rebranding, given that there is a new logo and all? Pretty much, yeah. So this bodge job of an overlay that you guys can see is me hacking apart the really nice one that Harry's made for us that you should have seen last week.
Yeah, last week we had the proper what it will look. Obviously, we were in a different studio, but in terms of the layout that you saw over the top of that, that's how we're going to do it from now on.
Yeah, because and we wanted to go with this because we feel like this is just a bit more fitting to our general plans of what we want to do with HighRollers. The kind of cartoony, fancy one was fine, but I think as we explore different games and we play different campaigns, we wanted to go with something a bit simpler, something that looks pretty cool and sophisticated, but at the same time has still got that little nerd elements like the D20 and sort of like, you know, the swirly, like the icons for the players and things like that. So yeah, I guess it is part of a rebranding. We're hopefully going to look at doing a new t-shirt with this kind of logo and stuff on as well. There's going to be a lot more merch. We've got the dice sets on their way. Merch Mike did a really cool job of, he actually got a sample plush for something that we wanted to do. So that might be something that happens in the future. So that's all, it's all go basically. So there's a lot of stuff happening basically. I'm going to read a couple more donations. Dead Star Killer. Hey Mark, love the LARPing vids. Just wondering if there are any classes that you would want to play in your game. And to Katie, what is your favorite spell? What's your favorite spell, Katie?
Question. I think Moonbeam is the obvious one. That's pretty cool. But there are some. What was the one that I'm sure I switched something out the other day and it was really cool and I can't remember what it was.
Control
There's
plants.
one that I want to use.
Yeah.
Yes, Plant Army. No. There is one that I was looking at and I really want to use it, but there was a reason that I couldn't. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Conjure Elemental.
Yeah.
So I could literally just be like, here's an
DM's
Earth
favorite
Elemental.
spell. Yeah.
Deal with that.
Yeah.
That sounded really cool. I haven't done that yet though. So for now I'll say Moonbeam.
Yeah.
Blight's pretty awesome too.
Blight's just
especially when you roll really, really high damage.
Friggin' nuts. In terms of class I'd want to play, I really love fighters, but also there's a couple of cool characters that I've got in mind that I like to play. I miss seeing bards. I think bards are really fun, like just being able to do things like inspiring word and cutting words and stuff like that. They're always a good laugh. But yeah, thanks very much for the donation. Graphite HB. Oh, you don't know if this just says, I retract my awfully optimizy comment about the belt. You have changed my mind, especially with the point about Nalistri's reaction to it. Don't let anyone tell you what to do, Katie. That's very kind enough to donate.
It's cool. It's cool. I think I just wanted to say something about it because
you do get a lot of comments as well.
I do get a lot of comments and tweets about it, but it's not just about the optimization side of it. It's more. I'm thinking more of the role play element of it. Is quite.
And that's what you should do. That's what.
Anyway, I won't speak any more about it.
Nightjar says, will we keep the same players in the next campaign? I'd hate to lose our current gang. Also, Katie and Kim stream, maybe with Kat and Ornita, Justice for Hazel next week. I'm sure Hazel's always up for everything. Don't know, we're going to plan
I don't know what me and Kim are going to do.
Yeah, we're going to see what the plans are for next week. In terms of the current gang, yeah, I think that the plan is always to keep it with, certainly, we'll obviously have to see if Matt, wants to come back and keep doing stuff. He's more than he knows that he's more than welcome to. It's just whether his life, facilitates that. I think we've generally chatted, and I think the idea would probably be that, if Matt doesn't choose to come back, we'd probably look at seeing if Tom's available, like Tom Hazel is available to jump in and do stuff, because we really enjoyed playing with him. But I think for the next campaign, it's we're not going to change it up, too much, apart from, potentially replacing Matt if he chooses, or if he can't rejoin us for whatever reason. I certainly hope he will, because I really enjoy playing with him. It was great having him at MCM.
It was so nice having him back at MCM. Yeah, so good.
And I enjoyed doing the I think he'll have a lot of fun with the stream of Annihilation stuff. I think he'll have a lot of fun with Uncharted Territory and stuff as well. So
yeah, well, I know that Chris and I definitely want to keep going.
Yeah, I think Kim and I,
and I think Kim's probably the same, because she likes to socialize every weekend.
Yeah, and I think she loves D&D. I think she likes the story.
Yeah, she loves D&D
as well. So, but Bizo Bobinator, if there are any unanswered questions at the end of the campaign, e.g. that Stone Cleric dude, will you tell us about them? Yeah, sure. If at the end of the campaign, I'll probably do like a wrap-up stream, or I'll do a wrap-up video or something like that, where we'll just talk about all the things that never came into it, and I'll try and answer your questions as best as I can. So I think
I
that
think
should
the
help.
stream keeps freezing. A lot of people are saying the stream is freezing a lot.
Oh, hang on. That might be. I'll check my. I've got to bring up the dashboard because I think I closed it. Sorry about this, chaps.
This is the first stream you've done from your new place.
Yeah, it also might be because like if things like I'm thinking if like Nina's got like Netflix on or something like that, it might be the bit rate. I am getting.
No.
Oh no, I've had
Blaming
like a couple of.
Neens.
I've had a couple of drops, but it's saying it's excellent now.
Okay, cool.
I've had a couple of little
Sweet.
blips. So sorry about that, folks.
Apologies for that.
This is literally because
look at how amazing Mark's new office looks, though, with all the board games.
And my Sigvald wig just poking out in the corner, which I was going to try and crop out, but I didn't bother in the end. But yeah, no, I've got my impressive board games behind, mounting all up.
Any chance to see Tom Clark as a guest? We're really open to anyone being guests.
I think
we just
we've always said the same
on
thing,
you,
haven't we?
really.
Well,
it depends on where your story is at the time, and yeah, if people are free. I think it's a weekend.
That's the main thing. Is like at the end of the day, we're doing this on a Sunday. Okay, so it's lag everywhere. Okay, I'm just gonna.
Oh no.
So is it really bad? Because it just dropped again. It's saying that it's fine in terms of stats and stuff. So stream health is okay. I'm just going to wait and see if this drops again. Seems fixed now. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it drops, but then it seems to catch up. Katie's audio. Katie's online. We've got her. I don't think that there's too much I can do. She's had a little bit of a robot, but I think it's fine.
Oh, no. I don't know if there's anything I can do my side.
No,
my internet's pretty good.
It's going to be my internet, I think, is the main thing. So it's on and off. The next thing I can try is when we go to the break, I'll stop and restart the stream. That's the only thing I can really try. So yeah, in terms of guests and stuff, it's always whether they're available to come in at the weekends. And also just if they want to as well. Like, you guys have got to remember, like, at the end of the day, D&D is a very close, personal group of friends thing. You guys might want to see a particular person, but if they don't know us very well, they just might not want to do it. You know, it's up to the person. Yeah. If anybody comes up to me and says, I really want to play on HighRollers, is there a slot free? These are the dates that I can do it. More than happy to let them play. Like, I'm more than happy for anybody to jump in. I know, like, you know, Xylus and Ravs were joking about, before on stream, because I accidentally ran a test donation on their stream. They were like, oh, as payment, you have to let us come on HighRollers. I'm like, guys, if you're in Bristol and you want to play,
oh, definitely,
you can play.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more than happy to let people jump in.
I think Xylus, Ravs, and Rythian are really keen to play. Yeah, it would be awesome to have them on. It really would. It just depends when people are in Bristol, and we'd love it. We'd love anyone to be part of it. We just need to work it out.
I'm just checking up on my thing. I'm going to close a bunch of stuff and see if this helps on the old bit rate.
I'm
also going to get music going again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry about the lag. Audio was there for ages. It was the music. I just forgot to play it again. So... Got some video lags.
Nina says she's streaming Orange is the New Black in Ultra HD.
That might be why, Nina. Ultra HD lul Akawais. Thank you. You can watch it normal. You can watch it standard def. Oh, you. Yeah, I think this is literally, we've discovered the cause of the lag.
We've found it. Oh, bless you, Nina.
Nina just poked her head in and is now apologising. It's fine. Thank you. You can watch it in standard, just not Ultra HD. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but yeah.
Oh, you could hear that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I heard that anyway.
Nice. So yeah, she's just like standard def. Ugh, peasants. So there you go. So hopefully that should fix the lag issues there, guys. Sorry about that. She'll have to stick to YouTube and like 720p. Right.
Oh, bless
let me get these donacons and see if there's any more. Everyone's just shaming Nina now.
Oh, no. Give her all the love.
Okay, couple more in here. Ozeron. Hey Mark, any chance we'll be seeing a one-shot in Exandria with Matt Mercer's campaign setting launches? That is a really cool idea. I like that idea, actually. I hadn't thought about doing that. But I think that'd be really fun. Like, and it'd be a great way to help promote the campaign guide. Not that I'm sure anybody who's watching HighRollers doesn't know about it. But that could be really fun, actually. Yeah, I'll speak to Matt and see if he's okay with me doing that. Because obviously, I don't want to, steal any of their thunder. And we do, folks making donations and ad money and Twitch money, but I'm sure if he's cool with it, we could do a little one shot in there. That could be a bit of fun. Tim Schwinch came in late, was DMing. My characters had to choose several rooms, only managed to complete 2. The last one, a reforged sentient armor possessed with a demon. Thanks, Mark. Which was destroyed earlier by the party, but now it's back for payback. Sounds awesome. I'd never expect the party to get as far as you think they will. I was really lucky with the Stream of Annihilation one that perfectly fit exactly what I had planned. And that was only really because I think of a bit of luck and a bit of like good RP from the party, basically.
It felt like just the right amount, and it felt just rounded off nicely, and there was a bit of story. Like, you planned it so that there was a bit of story with the flashbacks and a bit of combat. I think it was a nice all-rounder.
Well, that's the thing is, like, 90 minutes really is not a lot of time to play D&D, and I think, like...
I think we realised that at the live show as well, and, like, it's just crazy not to have time, and, playing for 3 hours every week, you need that, otherwise you don't really get anywhere.
Yeah. Donation sounds. On speaking of the live show, though, Mr. Merch Mike was checking out venues for a potential completely separate, not part of a con, HighRollers live show. He's currently looking at venues in London, so this would be just an evening. You pay a ticket, you come down, you watch us play D&D for a little bit long, like maybe like 2 hours to 3 hours. We have drinks, and maybe we do a signing session, and that's it. So he's currently looking at venues for that. That could be really, really fun. If you're interested in that sort of thing, make sure you tweet at Yogscast and just say like, oh, I'd love the idea of a HighRollers live or something like that. That could be really good.
Let us know if you're interested in that, because your voices will help it happen.
Absolutely, that's the thing.
Can do it,
it's like, I mean, Mike was going around, and everybody who came to the MCM live show, I think Mike came and asked you and said, how much would you pay for a ticket? Would you come to something like that? And most people said they would. But we can only make that happen if that's true, if people will actually buy tickets and come. And it would be probably in London, just because I think for the first one, that's the easiest one for everybody to get to. But then we could always look at doing one, say, in Birmingham or further up north, so that, folks up there have an easier time of getting down for us as well. And things like that. I was going to say the other thing, Akawais was saying, can I come? Akawais, we're probably going to make you come and run certain things for us. Like, we'll have you as like a little tech monkey doing stuff for us.
Tech monkey.
Well, because we probably, we can't take everybody. Akawais is now saying
Mike's
spam.
Twitter.
Yeah, so there's Mike's Twitter. Spam Mike. Let him know that you want a HighRollers live. And we would definitely give you guys plenty of notice on this. Like, it would be a sort of like, maybe a month or 2 months notice, kind of, hey, we're going to do this thing on this date. Buy your tickets, come along. Everybody try and sell merch there as well. Nina's in chat causing more trouble. Well, she's saying that she's fixing trouble. Wait, that's the wrong Mike Fleming. Good job. It's Mikey Fleming, Akawais. You've activated my trap cards. Oh, GG.
Yeah, please don't spam the wrong mic. So look at the next link.
Nice. So yes, if you guys would be up for that, I love doing the live show, so I'd love to run one again. And I think if we had like a proper, a dedicated setup, we'd have a dedicated stream and tech team there. We could do some really fun stuff. I love doing all the audience interaction stuff, so I'd love to do more of that. So that could be really fun.
I think just generally the past couple of weeks for HighRollers have been really eye-opening for us, because we got to see you guys at the live show and like see how many of you there were, and then we did the signing, which we filled up the whole signing time, which I didn't think we would manage that. No, I thought we were going to be sitting there with an empty queue, like little plebs just sitting there waiting for someone to maybe come and notice us, but there were so many of you, and then to do the Stream of Annihilation and have so much support there, it's just been a bit mind-blowing, like
Yeah.
crazy. So thank you very much if you came to MCM or if you watched the stream of Annihilation, because it's just been amazing.
Honestly, you guys support, like, I think that really made it. Like, we saw such a big uptick in, like, the stream viewership when we did our stream of Annihilation. So, like, thank you to everybody who watched that. The live show still blew me away. Like, the fact that we had to start it before doors were open, and so many of you still came, and then by the time it was finished, like, it was like 2/3 of the hall was full up, and that was mind-blowing to me. And then, yeah, the signing, the fact that it was a 2-hour block, and we didn't stop, it was like constant signing. I didn't expect that. I expected, we'd have a few people, because a few people had said that they'd come down, but to have that many was really, really eye-opening. So, really, really good. I hope that we can do more. People seem to really enjoy it, so I really hope that that's something we can do in the future. Generic Evil Genius donated. Hi Mark, I've got the same problem you do with one very tanky party member surrounded by a bunch of glass cannons. Can you share any tips you found for balancing encounters around this? Also look forward to the return of the Paint Licker streams. Paint Lickers will return. I'm going to paint up some minis. Honestly, mate, I'm still trying to figure this all out myself at the moment. I don't want to punish the one tanky player because that's not fair. They're playing their part. But at the same time, I want to make it fun and challenging for everybody. So, yeah, it's pretty tricky.
Especially when one of the characters has died once, and if they die again.
Well, that's it. Because I've got these kind of harsher resurrection rules, that puts a lot of fear into, especially Kim. I think, like, Kim genuinely does worry about Juto dying. And that is something that is a risk. So if I find any tips, I'll be sure to let folks know. Kev Tim Winch donated again, second donation, because first one is sorry for being late. The person who wrote the armor understood what the cackling laughter came out. Real question now, when are you publishing your own work again, Mark? I'd love a Buckland, a background, and special rules, etc. I'm probably not going to do any for the current HighRollers campaign setting. I don't feel there's enough I can add to that to make it justifiable as a purchase. I feel like the Lightborn was the only thing I've really created that would work well. I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm prepping for the next campaign already. I've got a class, what are they called? Subclasses. For one for the sorcerer, one for the bard. No. 2 for the sorcerer, 1 for the fighter. And then I've also got some new spells that I'm working on for the new campaign. There will probably be more added to that as we go further down the line. There's going to be new races. There's going to be a bunch of new stuff. But yeah, and it's going to use a lot of other DM's Guild stuff. I'm actually going to be using some of the stuff Matt Mercer's done as well in the new campaign. So things like Gunslinger are going to be like a predominant part of the new campaign setting. So there we go. Will there be time travel in the new campaign? No, because time travel makes everything broken. And it's really confusing. So I don't really want to do that. Sad American HighRollers fans cannot make it to the live show. Sky Silverwing, do you know how you and other US HighRoller fans may be able to fix that? Tweet to or contact the people who run PAX Unplugged. That's a tabletop gaming show. We've spoken to them, but obviously it's a very far distance to ship a bunch of us out. It's very costly.
And there's a bunch of us as well.
But if you can make it justifiable to them, if you can get loads of people to say, we will come to your show if you get these people, they can justify bringing us out there and we can put on a live show. So that's the PAX folks, PAX Unplugged. I think getting to know Alyssa and the Penny Arcade guys, that's a really good in, but they need to know that people will pay money and they will recoup the cost of flying us out there. So please do that. American HighRollers, if you want to see us out in the States, if you can get to Philadelphia, let PAX know and we can come to PAX Unplugged. Or maybe a Gen Con as well in the future as well. I freaking would love to do a Gen Con, just saying. Gen Con, hi, bring me over, please. So
yeah, that's the thing. HighRollers is, because there's a lot of us involved in it, it is a large cost for us to travel.
I mean, that's why I'm still so amazed. Like, Wizards spent so much money taking us out to the Stream of Annihilation. That's why, honestly, I just can't thank them enough, because that was not cheap. Like, flights for 4 of us, hotel rooms for 4 of us, like, all the food, all the lift credit they gave us. Man, it was nuts.
And then all they did all weekend was be like, thank you for coming so far.
It's like, what? You paid for it? You're crazy.
We're so happy.
Like, that's it. Like, I don't think they understood, like, how... I think Anna put it best. Like, it was just so amazing to get to spend those 2 days with just so many like-minded people, you know.
Oh yeah, I think the first time when I met Satine, she was just like, "I've already cried today.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that everyone's here, all in the same room."
Oh
And,
yeah, that's
like,
Satine.
everyone was mega grateful and mega like overwhelmed to be in a room with people who all loved the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of my favorite things from just us hanging out at the stream of Annihilation was the Matt, Marissa, Liam, and Towson and Ivan Van Norman from Geek and Sundry all together. We went out to the worst Mexican restaurant.
It was so bad.
It was like a really cheesy Spanish cantina decor with a karaoke bar attached to it. And we got there at like 10 minutes before the last orders. We made them cook us up a bunch of like, you know, quesadillas and nachos. And it was just, and it had like really cheap, awful margaritas.
Those margaritas were so strong.
But it was so funny though.
They were so strong.
It was so
I had
fun.
one, like, put it this way, I had one margarita and felt drunk, and I was sober before that, and I ordered another one and just looked at it and didn't drink it.
The best was
nope.
Ivan, who had like 3 of these cheap, super strong margaritas, and he got in the lift back with us, and he's just sprawled out like, "There you guys, this is great going out," and he's just like mega drunk. He was like Mark drunk. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Yep.
So
it was an interesting night.
I also would love to do Origins as well. Origins would be amazing for HighRollers. So if you want to contact Origins and get them to invite us out, thumbs up.
Basically, we'd love to do anything like around the world with HighRollers. If we were able to do that, we would love to do that.
I think
I would love it if we could just do HighRollers as a thing for good. Like,
I was gonna say, like, I think, like, especially me and you, I think, like, you know, it'd be amazing to just be able to do HighRollers full time, do shows, you know, do extra D&D stuff. You know, being able to invest more time into it, and I think, you know, there's going to be elements of that come up, but yeah, like, we love it. I'd love to do more of it and everything else. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always up for more.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna grab. There's one more donation that's come in. This is from Obijo. I have a mid-tier party of 6 at level 8, and I want them to fight a Baylor as their main enemy by 12th level. How would you avoid a TPK in this scenario while still making it hard? It's pretty tough because it's all about scale, right? So, like, just looking at, like, oh, this monster's a challenge rating this, and the party are level this, that's not good enough, because you got to look at what abilities it can do. Now, the nice thing with the Baylor is I don't think it has legendary actions. If it does, I might be wrong, but if it doesn't, that means it can only do a certain amount of things per turn. But it can also do things like, I think it's got, like, unlimited fireballs and stuff. Against a party of 8th level, you know, or 12th level, that's not a lot of damage, but it mounts up quickly. So you've got to try and factor those things in. If you want to try and avoid making it a TPK, things like NPC allies, making it so that it's maybe not just the party versus the Baylor, it's the party versus the Baylor and versus something else as well. That can create an interesting scenario. But you can also have it so that they're maybe not necessarily fighting the Baylor directly. Think of it kind of like a raid boss, like they've got to break the soul prisons that keep it from breaking into the material plane. And that's the fight that they're having whilst they're trying to mitigate and avoid the Baylor rather than actually fight him directly. So that's definitely some things to think about. That's how I would kind of approach it. What was it like getting to hang out with the Critical Role crew from Brads to Gangster? I think that we explained that with our bad Mexican restaurant story. It was great. No, it was really nice. They're all super lovely. You guys got to meet, because you guys have never met any of them before, right? Or...
No, I never met any of them. Yeah, it was really nice, because I think a couple of us have tweeted each other before, and I think a couple of them followed Chris anyway. But being able to actually talk, I think we got on with them really, really well. We managed to spend quite a lot of time with them on the first day.
Because they were only there for a short time, so...
Yeah, well, Matt and Marissa were only there for a small amount of time. And it was just really nice to... I think the thing that was quite funny to me was that we were all nerding out about the fact that we were there just as much as each other. Like, they must go to so many events for Critical Role now, and they were nerding out just as much as we were, that we were all doing what we were doing. and it was just really nice.
It was really nice for
Really
me to
nice
spend a bit
guys.
more time with Liam and Taliesin as well, because obviously I know Matt and Marissa quite well. But Liam is just honestly one of the nicest, most sweetest guys you've ever met. And Taliesin is so interesting. Like, he could just talk forever and I'd listen to him, you know. He's such a clever, intellectual man. And yeah, they're just super, super lovely guys. Deprived Sponge, have you ever thought about or had another player want to be revealed as the main villain as a short campaign or something? Also, do you feel like anti-paladins were in games in a party full of good people? Yes, I generally think having an evil character in a party where everybody else is good, or at least trying to be decent, is very disruptive and is going to quickly lead to arguments. If you have a very mature, very clever player, they can do it very well and it can be amazing, but that is the rarity. Whereas, you know, having a player who wants to be revealed as the main villain works as one-shots. Don't recommend it for like a major campaign.
I think it'd be good as a guest who came in.
Exactly, like good as like the thing we did with Dylan, right?
Like with Dylan, yeah.
You know, he comes in, the party thought he was a nice guy, he betrays them at the end. Bam, it's done. They've then got an NPC or a character that they can go after in the future. But I think if you're trying to do it for anything more than a one shot, you're gonna encounter a lot of problems that are easier to involved. I think like having an evil campaign where everybody's evil or at least very selfish, that's fine. But trying to mix evil or selfish characters with good characters is always very tricky.
You had a character in, was it Chris's campaign where you? Yeah, it was at Curse of Strahd, and the rest of the party made decisions, and your character simply did not agree on it and
had to leave. Yeah, so like my character,
had to leave the party.
Yeah, she was. I played a neutral good, like female elf, Eldritch Knight, and she genuinely wanted to help everybody. She wanted to be a hero. Like she had this predetermined destiny thing of trying to be a hero, and the rest of the party were not necessarily evil, but either very self-driven or were, you know, Alex Smith. You know,
enough said.
You know, I mean, Harry had a very interesting character, and by no means was Harry trying to dick anything over or trying to, you know, upset me or anything like that. But his character's goals were so dramatically opposed to mine that it just didn't work out. And I just basically had to hold my hands up and say, you know what, this character's going to leave. I'm going to play somebody else because it's just not working out. And that was fine. And in fact, my next character, knowing that that was the type of group, I came in with this kind of, you know, ex-thief, a little bit of a heart of gold, so I wasn't going to be a dick to everybody, but at the same time, he was more than happy to, like, steal and not give a shit about certain things. So, and that was a much, much, much more fun character to play with. So, definitely my way of kind of going about it.
Interesting.
Question for Mark from the Magpie. A while ago, you did a Q&A where you showed a map. Is there any land outside of Iraq? This is one of the reasons why I don't want to continue the campaign in Iraq, because I honestly haven't thought too much about it. Like, yes, there are lands beyond that continent, but I don't want to think about them too much. So, at the moment, the campaign is focused on that large continent, and there are parts of that continent that the party have never even explored or heard about, but that's done. Like, there are lands beyond it, but not ones I want to go into in too much detail, so... And there you go. Alignment Smithy. Yep, pretty much.
Yep.
Pretty much. He's been pretty good, actually. His more recent characters have been less like that, and when he guests on HighRollers, I am almost certain he will not be like that, because I've chatted to him and stuff like that. But yeah, he's always there. We've got a hundo from True Saiyan Gaming. Hi, Mark and Katie.
Thank you so much.
Question for Mark. Would you put information in-game of previous areas the party have visited or previous guest characters such as Toriel, Falk, Autumn Spire, Lobin? Yeah, I'd absolutely put, like, I think once the campaign's done, I'm more than happy to answer any questions about that stuff. But I'd like to keep some things secret until the end of the campaign, just to keep them safe. Question for Katie. What has been your favourite location?
I think the Winter Spire too, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the Winter Spire was just such a good area for Laura to explore and be around elves, and yeah, I really like the Winter Spire.
Yeah, I think like that was definitely one of my favorites. I like anything to do with the Fae. I always found that really interesting.
Yeah.
Elves are a pretty big part of the next one, although they're not called elves in the next campaign, but they're going to be a big part of it, and the whole Feywild and stuff. Zephyrion. Question, Mark, what do you think of open world type of gaming, as in the DM just gives 3 or 4 story hooks and the players do basically what they want instead of the classic story-driven campaigns, especially in relation to new players? Which is better in your opinion? Okay, so those kind of campaigns are amazing. They're great to play in. I don't think they work as well for stream games, and this is where, whilst we try and make HighRollers like a regular D&D game, there is a much bigger focus on the story and keeping things moving to keep you guys entertained. I think open sandbox games don't work necessarily as well. You've got to be a very skilled GM to be able to pull it off. I think that in terms of, for newer players, it's good to give them a nudge. Think of it like a video game, right? Like, start it off with a tutorial, which is very story-driven and kind of on the rails. And then when they get out of the cave and they see Skyrim, you drop a few story hints, and then they can go off and do what they want. And I think that that's a great way of doing it with new players, because it gives them, it highlights what makes D&D special, and you can do whatever you want. But to kind of get them in, and so they don't feel completely lost, you want to just kind of put them on those rails for a little bit and give them a couple of big story hooks and let them go, basically. Yeah, basically, Game Guy, I think, like, Adam Coble is really good at that. Like, he is a master of sandbox gaming. I am not. I am a frustrated writer who is also a dungeon master. And I think...
Who is also too hard on himself as well. Which we have established.
Yes. But yeah, I think, like, for me, it's kind of, I find the story-driven stuff much easier to manage because I've always got an idea of where to go. But also, I'm quite lucky in that the players, all of the players, pick up on the hooks that I drop, and you guys seem genuinely interested in pursuing that. I'd never have to force you. You're always like, well, yeah, of course we fucking want to do this because we want to help this person, or we want to help and do this because that's what our characters are. So I think it, is, that works out really well.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we're all good people and we want to help people.
Yeah, basically. We're going to take a break. I've got to run some ads. Katie, anything you want to talk about before we go? Before I do some spoilery
I don't think so.
DM preps?
Before you do spoilers that I'm not allowed to see.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I might hang out on the HighRollers Discord.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions that didn't get answered and stuff like that, I can always hang out on there for a bit and chill. I don't have any other plans. So I'll do that. But yeah, I just wanted to reiterate a big thank you, basically, for just all of the support recently. It's just been, well, ongoing support throughout the entire campaign, but just the past 2 weeks have been very eye-opening for us, and we're super grateful for it. So a massive thank you again for all of the support.
Massively. If I struggle with the DM prep stuff, I'll just message you on Discord and jump back in and we'll answer some more questions. So
sure. No worries. I will hang around. So
did I skip donations? Okay, let me just check.
Yeah.
I haven't skipped any. I just haven't. There have been. Oh no! For some reason, it didn't show up. Distilled. Distilled donated. Hey Mark, rolled a bard to replace a ranger I wasn't enjoying at all. What are your thoughts on the bard college, including UA? My character is going for a mental influence type character as a backstory of hiding from a temple that branded him a heretic. I think that there's one in specifically. I think it's called like the College of Whispers, which works quite well with that. Which is in UA. I like the College of Glamour as well, and even just the College of Law I think is really good. There's some really good bard colleges out there. Gemmo also donated with just a heart. A lot of these didn't show up for some reason. I'm just scrolling through. No, Distilled. Yep, I got that one. That was the one I just read. It was the same message, but thank you.
And I don't mean the Yogscast Discord. I mean the HighRollers Discord.
Yes.
Discord. So I don't have a link for that. If someone has a link for the HighRollers Discord, that is where I will be.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to run some addos and disable the old Mickey phone while we take a break. So we'll be back in about 5, guys, and I'm going to be doing some DM prep, talking a little bit about sort of how I'm going to be planning out the next few things and my kind of process about, writing stuff, basically. Excuse me. So there we go. Cool. All right.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks, Katie. And
Thank you.
See you guys in a bit. How do I do
Bye,
this?
guys.
Hello, friends. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed all those lovely ads. Did you enjoy your American Gods ads? Did you? I hope you're all watching it. You know, stay in the moment. Right, let's get some mosaics going. Let's get some new mosaics going. I had no ads. Thank you, Twitch Prime. I'm sorry. Well, I did run an ad, so those of you who didn't see them, I'm assuming you have ad blockers or you are subs. Sorry, Wolfie. Look, I ran ads, not my problem. I ran them. Ads played this broadcast. It's registering. Right. So, I'm just doing a lot of rando stuff at the moment. So let's get this up and full screen that. And shrink mini-me down. Cool. I'll get this microphone moved so I can get a bit more comfy. Here we go. Katie has killed Discord. It's being spammed by bot messages now. Nice. I don't know how the ads work, guys. I don't know how. I played them. That's all I care about. I have to do it for Yogs. So, let us talk about Dungeons and Dragons prepperonis. Mark becomes Mark size. Nice. Where's Larkin? I don't know. I never understood. What am I doing with like my arms? Here we go. Over here. Okay. Word document, please. This is Google Docs. So, to give you guys an insight into how I do things, normally with show notes, which is what I call them show notes. I start with, it would just basically be something along the lines of like this. You know, we'll just give it, do a title or whatever, just so I know what it is. And then I'll normally do things like intro notes, and then this will be where I put things like, you know, like, buy merch, new shirt, come to con, tickets, like any kind of reminders that I do for like, you know, that kind of thing. But I'm guessing you guys don't care about that stuff. Oh, no, I don't need that up. I also do a recap, so I'll write out like a short version of a recap from Yogs Wiki, or I'll write my own based on what I remember from last time. And generally that serves as a good reminder to me of what exactly happened, so I can go back in and check it. Who is this guy? That's a good question. Who am I? Who am I? But there you go. It's Terps, duh, of course, yeah. Hello, it's me, Terps. The Yogscast Twitch announced who won the table ROM. It's nothing to do with me. I just promoted the competition. So Mike and Geek and Sun did all of that. So it's all on there. Right. So let's talk about DM notes. So you guys probably want to be from the point of D&D. Now, there's a couple of things we need to talk about with regards to this. We currently have 3 major loose ends. So 3 major plot points that need to be wrapped up at some point, right? So we currently have missing Lightborn children, debt to Cassandra. So in exchange for her help dealing with Velderban, the party agreed to help Cassandra find these missing Lightborn kids, right? Wait, this isn't Tomska? Oh, God. Okay, so that's one of my soundproofing boards has just fallen down. GG. Hopefully that's only one. Everyone's just saying, who is this guy? So we got the missing Lightborn children, debt to Cassandra, right? That's a loose thread that needs wrapping up. We also have the Karen Blackearth after Cam Buckland. Buckland family. That's another plot thread that is currently ongoing. We also have, we actually have more than 3. We also have Althadon missing. Yeah. Laura's father that's another plot point that needs to be considered. Then we also have Felania, Broken Sky, Airship. Mark is now Alpha Mark. I am the meme. The guy in the cleric in the Underdark is not a loose thread because it is not relevant to the PCs currently. They don't care about it. Crown Rend is, I would call, an optional thing. It's not something that the party are specifically going after or have been specifically told that they should care about it, right? So those things don't really matter. Same with the Burning King.
Hello there, fella.
I just don't think that they're particularly going to be chasing after that thing immediately, so I'm not going to worry about it. If they throw a surprise on me, that's something I'll worry about later down the line, but for now, I'm not going to worry too much about it right this second, because I don't think that it's something they're going to be pursuing. So, for the next few sessions, I suspect I will have to cover some of these things, if not all of them. So, that's what I'm going to focus on. I can't prep. I can sit here and prep and prep and prep and prep, and I can prep the Burning King. I can prep if they go down to the Underdark. I can prep all this other stuff. But I'm going to focus on the things that I think are most likely for them to deal with, right? So that's all the kind of stuff that I'm going to focus on for now. Now, we know that the party headed back to Talis Val. The stuff that happened in the last episode with Alyssa's character, Viathan, Trixani, and all that kind of stuff, I don't have to worry too much about the NPCs in that, and the guest character, because they're kind of the things that we kind of wrapped that up the last time, that they're going to go off, they're going to find their master, and kind of investigate a few things. So we know the party headed back to Talis Val. I should point out, by the way, we're on the Twitch front page. Hello, everybody from the Twitch front page. If you're watching this from the Twitch front page, this is not a regular HighRollers stream. This is a filler stream. I'm doing a Q&A and some D&D prep. Ahead of our time, because a lot of our group aren't available to play right now. I am Mark Humes. I'm the Dungeon Master of HighRollers. We normally stream this time on a Sunday, but sadly not today because we're missing folks. So hopefully that helps. So, all this kind of stuff, like everyone's just theorizing. Everyone loves Barry, so they do. So we know that the party are heading back to Talis Val. So the next thing that I need to think about is what are my villains up to? Because that is how I want to develop what's happening in the world, right? I need to think about what's going on.
Obama.
Thanks, Obama. I need to think about what the villains are doing so that it can affect the rest of the world. So, if you don't want spoilers, by the way, don't watch the rest of the stream. So, Felania she is currently working with forces to prepare for invasion of Talis Val. So she currently has airship, has secured supplies from Veldeban, because the party failed to stop that. Some other things that the party have not investigated, supplies from Aramount, or that they've not been involved in, have stopped due to interference from Trell and Drow houses. That's why Trell left, was to go and deal with this kind of the Delkir and the things going on that had ties into the Broken Sky, which the party don't know about. So that means that they've not been receiving some supplies from there. Black powder shipments disrupted. So airship has less firepower than expected. So what we know about all of this is Felania is basically continuing to work on her for invasion. Because of the missing supplies and things like that, invasion is not ready yet. Airship is stationed by Cloud Castle above Shard Lake. Spies in Talis Val are waiting for party to return. Continued research into Lightborn. And this is where ties into missing Lightborn kids. Markham's writer, yeah, terrible fucking writer, more like. Yeah, JJ, so yes, you're quite right. The Broken Sky does indeed have things like cannons now. It's something they developed. It was foreshadowed during the Winterspire arc when they were at the town of Hallow. Again, party didn't necessarily pick up on everything, so we've not really gone into it too much. Sky, yes, airship is partly magical. So it stays far from first light, far enough that it isn't affected by it. But it also has some redundant systems in case it's hit by things like Dispel Magic and things like that. Very, very powerful. So that's what we know about Falania and some of the Broken Sky stuff. Franco Sunsitter failed to capture Cam Buckland. This was in the last episode. Doesn't want to go back to... Doesn't want to go back to Falania empty-handed. Will attempt to capture once again. Let's fix all of these. Once again, likely back in the city. Karen Blackhurst. Now, this is going to be one that a lot of you guys don't know about yet because this has kind of been happening a lot behind the scenes. It's something that we've not really touched into in the campaign itself. Has sent undead agents, including vampiric members of Buckland family, after Cam Buckland. Needs Cam's blood for ritual. Has secured the town of Greybell. Greybell has cut off all ties with the Dawn Republic and the Unbroken Empire. What kind of ritual? I don't know yet. I'm not going to think that too far ahead. I know that I want him... He needs Cam alive temporarily for this ritual, more because it makes sense in a story point of view. But I will think of it later on, because it's not important right this second. That's my way of thinking about it. I don't need to know that just now. One thing that I do want to know is, because Greybell has cut off all of its ties with the Dawn Republic, that is potentially something the Council Korak will ask PCs to investigate. And again, you guys haven't heard much about the Unbroken Empire yet because the party just haven't gone south, really. Yes, it needs specifically to be Cam Buckland. Undead agents in Talis Val, waiting for Cam Buckland to return. Vampire assassin? Question mark. And this is where the brainstorming element of this begins. Whilst I have these kind of ideas of these wider things going on, individual adventures I don't plan out. I write up these notes, I think about what my bad guys are doing, I think about what's going on in the world, and then I see if, oh, that's a cool idea for adventure that comes up. So that's going to be a thing, Cam does have a lot of enemies, yes. But we're not finished with that. So we'll come back to Karen in a moment. This one will be an interesting one of you. Silval. Currently tracking Althadon with... Has made arrangements with Falania to retake Winterspire once she takes Dawn Republic. So this is the one that's, I think you guys are going to freak out the most. And again, the reason that I say spoilers, Silval has Crownrend has made pact with it to get revenge on party, especially Elora, Cam, and Trell. Intends to use Althadon to lure party out and attack. Crownrend has no intention of honoring any bargain with Cloud with Felania. It doesn't necessarily mean that Crownrend still likes Juto, but he particularly despises the party for making Juto get rid of, like, for basically convincing Juto to get rid of him. So that's why. Clive Orok. There's a couple of things there. Crownrend isn't necessarily against anti-royals. He's against anti-tyranny. Specifically, he's against anti-lawful alignments. He is chaotic evil. He doesn't like lawful alignments. Silval is not lawful. She was, whilst she is a princess, she is chaotic. She doesn't care about tradition. She doesn't care about honor and family. And now she is driven purely by revenge. So there we go. So that's why Silval can use Crownrend. Silval is more interested in the woman that killed her father with a point-blank headshot with a bow and arrow than she is about the demon woman that threw her off a cliff. Also, the influence from Crownrend kind of plays into that. You don't need to be demonic to use Crownrend. It just makes it easier, made it more appealing to Juto, I think, but never a requirement of part of the magic item. Just requires anybody of a non-lawful alignment, non-lawful, non-good alignment, which is where a lot of the others kind of got taken out of it, basically. It's why he also didn't mind going to Trell. That's why he tried to convince Trell to pick him up, because Elora and Cam are both good alignments. So there we go. So that is happening. Is still tracking Althadon in northern mountain ranges. So let's have a look at what these villains are up to, basically. So we've got Felania's planning this, but the invasion's still not ready yet. So whilst we've got this airship stationed above, it does mean that if the party wanted to track this down, we need to have some notes about the airship and things like that. So we need to prepare this in a certain sense. If they want to fly up there and try and do an early alpha strike, then we need to be aware of that. This is a potential option for when they get back to the city, and could lead this could lead them to more information about this, as he knows where she is and he knows a way to get there. So this is a potential immediate arc. I'd say this is also another immediate arc, especially the fact that we know that there is an assassin coming after Cam immediately. It would also, let's make sense, some Buckland family have escaped Karen's clutches, and Greybell would seek Cam. What is happening with our lesbian elves? They're having a whale of a time. They're just recovering. We'll put a note down, but I don't think it's going to be of huge importance. Oh, no. Wrong one. So, other notes. Autumn Spire, Shalana, and Pela recovering. Making wedding arrangements. Could be nice. This could be a nice thing to do after next character arc. But then cliffhanger into message from Sylval. I have your dad. Lol. So that could be a nice thing. So after we do this next character arc, the cam stuff, they kind of like, oh, let's go to the wedding. Lol, that would be nice. Boom. Drop the cliffhanger. That's a good point, actually. We actually have Amelia, because she went back. And she knew that Karen was after her. Or, no, I'm thinking, let's say... That's more interesting. Some other notes. Burning King. Bandits and forces have been recalled to support Felania's forces, and airship will be involved in the invasion of Talus. Wow. Okay, let's read out some donations while I'm just making these plans. Ah, yeah, let's do... I gotta do that as well. Lightborn. Well, the Lightborn kidnappings is tied to Felania, so we'll put it in the Felania section. No, let's put it as a separate one. So, this is, Lightborn kids taken to underground part of First Light where the magic dampening effect is cancelled out. Victoria and her other mages are investigating the effects of Dawn Shards and Fall Shards on them, primarily to understand how a chunk of Dawn Shard in Felania's back will affect her over time. So one thing that's not really come up yet is Felania has a chunk of Dawn Shard embedded in her back, makes her magic much more powerful, explains why she can maintain this control over a greater number of people. It also explains, it's going to explain why I boost her stats up when she's a monster, but also it is partly what is causing her to make her go mad, effectively. So it's actually driving her crazy. Storm Giants are all busy doing some shit. Where did a question from Game Guy? Where did I get the idea for Felania and the Broken Sky? The idea for Felania just came from... Well, the Broken Sky came from Felania, really. And it was simply because I like the idea of this kind of bratty princess given incredible power and just thinking that she deserves rulership. And... you know, making her kind of inspired a little bit by political events in that having this very charismatic ruler who doesn't really understand anything except fear and control. and how they can, what in a fantasy setting, if they were given magic, what they would do and stuff like that. So that kind of thing to know there. Metamanu donated, generous donation, thank you very much, Metamanu. I don't want any spoilers for episode 50, so I'm out. Thanks to you and Katie for the Q&A, lovely stream as usual. It's cool that you are aware of how much people appreciate HR. I am absolutely aware, and it's a struggle not to get emotional about it every time, because it really does just blow me away, really. So yeah, absolutely nuts. Ace of Thorns donated. Just give us an awesome final battle mark. I win a medal ceremony and we'll be golden. Well, medal ceremony, well, maybe we'll see. But yeah, hopefully it will be a pretty epic conclusion and adventure. I'm certainly excited for a few things. I think, yeah, there's definitely an element of Trump in there. They're not just Trump, though. Sort of any kind of charismatic leader. I mean, you look at, great fascist leaders in the past. Like, they often get to those positions of power. They corrupt, or not corrupt, they make genuine people feel that they are trying to do something right, even though it's so clearly wrong. And that's kind of what I've wanted to get across with Broken Skies. They are kind of really, yeah, they're zealot, they're zealots, they're fanatics. They think that what they're doing's right, but it's incredibly wrong, and they've been convinced by this magically charismatic and convincing person. So yeah, an element of real-world history kind of playing into there, basically. If you have a Dawn Shard and a Fall Shard together, do they cancel each other out? Yes, but it depends on which one's larger. So if you have them of equal size, then yes, lesser extents, different sizes will play it out slightly. Dawn Shards can also be small, but be very dense and have their magic intensity affected. I don't think I'll have Loban in the group of other mages with the Lightborn kids being kidnapped. I don't know how I want to handle that, because I don't always know when Cap's going to be free and how I necessarily want to have him come back, because we did discuss that Loban would have done anything to get this. He has betrayed the party. Don't know if they'll trust him again, so it's kind of interesting. How do I come up with the idea for names of PCs, towns, etc.? I just do. If I can't come up with something, I normally use a fancy name generator. Best villains believe they're the hero of the story. Absolutely, Mobius. Completely agree. Will we see Mina again? Maybe. Don't know. Probably unlikely, but we'll see. I will never rule anything out, but I can't say at this time that I have any plans to have that happen. Yeah, fancy terrorists. That's exactly how they're planned. I don't want to necessarily have the party find like Loban's body. I know that Kath would like to play again. It's just the timing and figuring out exactly how that scenario works out. So I just want to figure that out, basically. What was I going to say? I was going to make a point about something, and I can't remember what that point was. What was the original plan for Vixanis? You kind of put a story to her beginning the world, and then she dies for asking around. She was basically, Vixanis was going to be like a kind of companion character that would have helped them get to Briarcrest, help sort of bed them into the city, because like the players were still new then. Like, Kim, Katie, Matt really hadn't done a lot before. She was going to kind of tie into some of the Trellamar personal story. I thought that she'd be an interesting NPC, this kind of female drow with a different perspective on life and things. But yeah, I basically, because she was on her own and PCs didn't go with her, she gets caught and killed. Doesn't have the backup, so she gets killed. But is she truly dead? Yes, she is dead. Okay, cool. Clavigar Auric corrects us all. The Broken Sky are not terrorists, they're an insurgency because their terror acts tie into political activities. There we go. Dead as shit. Are we going to find out what dark force is that caused the Lightfall? No. And I always intended never to answer that question. So, that's it. Right, let's crack on with this. So, we've got this planned. We've got this. On the notes. Council and Korak, that was it. So, moving on to this. Korak increasingly frustrated. Council have now begun excluding him from meetings. Yep, pretty much like that, Nightjar. Just, you never find out what caused it, you're just dealing with the aftermath. And because I think it's interesting for people to come up with their own ideas. Like, you want to tie it into Tharizdun, you want to tie it into the giants, you want to tie it into the dragons. It's up to you, really. So... Right, I think we've got a lot of good notes there on, like, roughly what's happening in the world. And that's kind of the main things I need to know about, so that if nothing else, I can improv this stuff and just BS my way through it. I think I'm gonna... So, returning to Tarzval. Party will want to... So let's think about some generic notes here. So we want a vampire assassin sent to get Cam, kill his allies, laying in wait. Alright. That's an encounter or a plot point that can be going on in the city. We also have Franco, Sunsitter, planning to capture him. The two of those aren't likely to meet up and to make alliances, so I'm not going to have them team up, but that would have been an option. Korak and the council, increased tension within the city is leading this to become a situation. Party can get involved. So we've got that. Cassandra gathers supplies and then seeks party out to help with missing kids. So, who will be the guest? Likely it's going to be Smith. That's a good point, actually. We need to think about that. So, next guest, Alex Smith. So, I know that Smith wants to play a half-elf sorcerer. Older sort of fellow, but still spry. Focused on enchantment and mind magic. I need to think about how he might play into certain things. I think... it is indeed Smith. I said this earlier. It is hopefully Smith. We need to confirm with him on the, see, look, Rum's coming up with things. Wolfie Kid of Doom, that's a really cool idea. I've always liked the idea of, like, the paladin Batman that goes too far. Also kind of see it, like, if you've ever seen any kind of, like, comic book stories with Superman, that can lead into some interesting ideas of, like, when he does kill and he suddenly realizes, like, oh, I need to, clamp down on crime and basically become like a tyrant. That's always an interesting way of doing it. Lord Nasta. I'm actually not. Most of this is stuff that I've been holding back. These are some of the big secrets. There'll be some little things, but this is kind of like pretty much you're seeing a lot of the big plot here. The only thing I'm really holding back is kind of like the plans for after Felania. So we go from there, really. Chill Out Nitro. Couldn't ask this in the Q&A, but would you want to see HighRollers become a book or other media? If so, what? I'd like to see it, maybe the only thing I'd like to see it as would be either a comic book or an animated series. I think comic book would be really funny. I think the characters lend itself well to that format. However, I wouldn't want it to be a book or anything like that. I have a novel I would love to write. It's completely separate. It's not based on anything that you've seen or heard of in D&D or anything like that before. It's completely original world, completely, it's not based on D&D or anything like that. It's very Brandon Sanderson, because Brandon Sanderson's a huge inspiration for me. I consider myself a Sandersonian era writer. And to give you the base gist, it follows a young guardswoman, daughter of a blacksmith, who is a member of a noble house And she basically becomes a guard and is assigned her first duty of guarding the next what they call conduits, which is 2 members of the family are invested with magical power as part of a kind of a constant cyclic system of granting power and methodology. Normally it always goes to nobles, and generally it goes to those fated to... Generally it goes to those who are either a couple, either intimate, familial, or, you know, something like that, because the way the magic works is the stronger the love between the 2 people, the more powerful the magic. This young guardswoman attends the ceremony. One of the nobles inherits the power. The other one is killed, and at the same time the power goes to this young guardswoman who's a commoner. And there's a lot of kind of discussion about whether she was the intended target or whether it's only gone to her because the other person was killed, etc. And it's dealing with a lot of that. So it's very inspired by classic fantasy tropes and things like Sanderson that I really enjoy. It's got its own magic system. The conduits have their own sort of certain type of magic that they can perform. And yeah, it's a love story. It's you know, it's a love story between 2 characters in this kind of fancy world. So that is... I can see the MLP in this description. Wow. Nice. Okay. Interesting. Where? I'd be like to know. So there you go. Have I read Name of the Wind? Yes. I'm also a big fan of Patrick Rothfuss. Love his books. HighRollers anime, that'd be amazing. Wait, I thought Falania was the end. No, Game Guy. After they've dealt with Falania, I have something planned for the kind of follow-on after that. There's going to be a short follow-on, a couple of loose ends I've still got to wrap up, so... it won't be a quick thing, so yeah, Kato's basically got it. It's basically going to be dealing with the real Korak. It doesn't necessarily need to be a quick thing, but it won't be a long thing. So, there we go. So, let's do this. So, this is where I'm now going to turn to this, our old friend, because I kind of feel like I've got some ideas to work on there. It gives me an idea of where the narrative's going, some of the things, maybe some encounters I need to think about, some NPCs I need to stat up. And so what I then normally do is I start looking at the monster manual and going, okay, you know, what's a cool monster I can make them fight? What's a cool thing that I can throw at them and stuff like that? One thing I would love to do, and I'm thinking, actually, yeah, I've been thinking about this for a while. I really want to do some Yuan Ti stuff. I wanted to do Yuan Ti for a while. And they've never really quite fit in anywhere. Where I think that they are going to fit in with is missing Lightborn kids. So, First Light is like a ruined metropolis where magic doesn't work right. It isn't completely negated, as people believe. Instead, it has pockets of wild magic and pockets of dead magic. So it kind of has like fluctuating magic zones. Magical zones. Semi-undead city. Mechanical or magical constructs. Act like undead within the city. Trapped souls of mages inhabit constructs or objects. Really creepy and unnerving. Fallout inspired. Right? And then primary bad guys in First Light. Yuan Ti. Mutated and corrupted. Mages and sorcerers who survived the Lightfall and have created their own society and city beneath the ruins. Look, don't correct my spelling, guys. This is why Bill Gates created Microsoft Word and spell check. Volo's Guide's really good, and yeah, I've got that over there as well, Baskerville. Sometimes I will pull out Volo's Guide and try and see what's fresh and new. Sometimes I just like to have a flick through the monster manual and see if there's an old monster that I've not used. Like, for example, like, it reminded me that I've wanted to use Yuan Ti for a while. You know, it's just, you know, you just pick it up and go through, basically. Will the Yuan Ti be purebloods? I think the idea is that purebloods will be like the weakest, will be commoners, students, anyone with minor magic, anyone who held minor magical abilities. Whereas things like the abominations, etc., are the powerful casters, corrupted, powerful ones. Xanthar's going to everything. I'm super excited about that. It's going to be amazing. Grinhead, throwing Sorcerer Smith into a place where magic doesn't work, right? I think that's why... So here's the thing, right? Small admission from me, guys. The Lightfall's a really cool thing. Full Shards are a really cool thing. I kick myself that I made them anti-magic. And I've made First Light anti-magic. Which is why I'm now actually going to retcon it a little bit and have it so that it does work, it's just fluctuating, it's a bit wild. I think Smith's going to play a wild mage anyway, so I'm going to actually have it so that there's like a mix of dead zones and fluctuating magical zones, because it sucks. Creating an entire area where magic doesn't work basically means nobody will ever go there, ever. And sometimes you just got to look back on things you create and say, like, that was a pretty stupid idea, I gotta retcon it somehow. So, you know, the nice thing is I can base this a lot on, like, oh, yeah, you've heard that magic doesn't work in the City of First Light, but maybe Smith's character is gonna know, like, actually, it does work there. It can be a little unpredictable sometimes, but it does work. A lot of people are just told it doesn't work to keep them from going in there because it's full of treasure. You know, exactly. Baskerville's got it as well. Like, you know, the idea of it fading over time, that sort of thing. All of these things can bring it out. And I think it's a cool place. I love the idea of this kind of Fallout style, you know, ruined metropolis. Instead of technology, it was all magical based. So you've kind of got like flickering magical lights. You've got like ghostly spirits wandering around. You've got the ghouls, the super mutants, that kind of thing. So it should work really well. Would it also affect the spells of the group in different ways? Maybe not, just because I think that would be a lot to juggle at one time. But certainly, you know, it can play around with different things. Maybe it won't just be pure wild magic. Maybe I'll write up my own sort of like magic table, like my own sort of like Dawn Shard messed up magic table. No, as far as I know, Smith's character is not going to be related to Cam in any way. You know, whilst obviously everybody loves Hat Films as a trio, Trot's playing HighRollers as Chris Trot, not as a member of Hat Films. Smith will be coming on as our friend, not as a member of Hat Films, and just, you know, playing his own character. So it's going to be an interesting one. The reason, somebody just said, parting of ways. Originally in Barristown, you made it so the shards only reduce magic by half. It's because they dampen magic. What I said with, I think I said this very early on in the campaign, because First Light was decimated by these shards and is full of them, it basically completely negates it, and that is what I've come to regret. So, there we go. People talking about UNT. I'm just going to check the donations. Oh, we've run out of music as well. Let's get something else on. I'm having to go through all of my epidemic music. Epic sports moments. That sounds amazing. Oh, the Great Adventure at the beginning. That'll do. I'll put this on. Din-din-din-din-din. Let's see if we got any Donacons. No, good. Okay. From Starflip, Mark, are there any samurai-like characters in your campaign? Baboosh! Yes, there are, but it's not something that's come up because, again, the party haven't gone there. south of the Dawn Republic, there is a region called the Unbroken Empire. The Unbroken Empire is basically governed by a teenage girl, young adult girl, I think she's 19, 20 now, who has incredible power. You know, we're talking very near demigod style power, but she has attained this through something which she describes as the path, and it is a kind of philosophical belief. And they eschew the gods. They think that the gods have completely betrayed them, and she's converted this whole small region into kind of like a divine army, but they believe in this philosophy more than anything. And their whole thing is they are monks and samurai, kind of almost think like magical Jedi in a sense, or like holy Jedi. They believe in this very strict mantra, which has kind of got elements of martial arts, little bits of Bruce Lee's tenets mixed in with the Jedi code, mixed in with some communism, because they are all about basically everybody works, everybody puts in effort, nobody gets more than anybody else. You train your body and you are rewarded, and then you basically you can ascend the path faster. And because there's this young empress who has these incredible powers, and anybody who dedicates themselves to this path can earn those powers, effectively taking levels in cleric or paladin or monk. You know, it has a lot of beliefs into it. So those kind of characters are all basically part of the southern continent. When the characters go to Greybell to deal with Keren, I really want to have at least an NPC or a couple of NPCs from that southern empire, that the party can at least begin to learn about it, because it's all well and good talking about it here. Star Monkey, very, very, very lots of similarities between the Tau, like the idea of the greater good. These guys are less shady than the Tau. They genuinely are, you know, there is no corruption in it necessarily. Look, I'm using words. Magical Buddhist samurai communists. Exactly, right? That sounds cool. The greater good. That's right, Nicholas. This is the best village. The greater good. So there's definitely going to be elements of that. And yeah, I wanted them to have a real kind of samurai feel to them. Incidentally, in the new campaign that I'm planning, after this, the Iraq world, the Iraq campaign, in the new campaign setting, half of the races are all based around that kind of Eastern mythology. We're talking samurai, honor culture, emperor, spirits. It's very Japanese influenced. That's a huge part of the next campaign setting, because I love it. I love it a lot. Kev Tim Schwinch, 4th donation. You missed my 3rd one. I'm sorry, Kev Tim. I didn't think I did. 3rd donation. Awesome, Mark. Will you be publishing your stuff once your new campaign starts? Yes. Hopefully, I'll actually be publishing it before the new campaign starts. The new Sorcerer and Fighter stuff. Also, haven't seen the earlier Q&A for the campaign. We'll have to watch back. Also, keep up the work. Great work, Katie. Thank you very much. Well, Kev Tim Winch, and then this Unbroken Empire sounds cool. Where did Juto's character come from? Was it the Unbroken Area campaign? No. She came from... So, when she traveled over from Brasaris... Actually, we could say that because it's near Greybell. Yes. So, she would have traveled south in the desert, managed to escape from one of the regions in the thing. I'm just trying to think of the map. She would have headed south, and yes, they have like border patrols, which keep an eye on the desert and what the Dragonborn are up to. One of the monks there could have grabbed her, trained her, you know, separately. I probably would have had it so that the where she trained in the monastery is maybe like a sect, like a separated part from the Unbroken Empire, because they haven't taught Juto the very specific religion of the Unbroken Empire, but it could be a bunch of renegades that taught her or something like that. So that could be pretty good. That's a nice way of tying it in. And you see, guys, I don't have everything planned out. Sometimes you just think of it and you're like, oh yeah, that works really well, and you add it up on the fly. That's just the way I do things. Why churn? Mark, what would happen if someone fired a relatively weak spell to someone wearing a light shard amulet? Would the damage be bigger than normal, and therefore would it be an extremely bad idea to wear a light shard? What is something that Felania wanted to have? In the same way, spells that faced by the person will lose their power and they get out of the radius of the one light shard. No. So the idea is that with light shards, originally I did have it so that if you have like a Dawn Shard, any spells cast at you are boosted, and I probably will still have elements of that. However, if you cast a spell, it has that inherent power. It doesn't fade when it gets out of range. You just cast more powerful magic. So that's the way I'm going to probably work with that. See, guys, it's not all perfect. It's all higgledy-piggledy, and I'm making it up a lot of the time. Parting of ways. Are there new characters with a new campaign? Yes. Once this campaign is over, once we have finished everything with Felania and the real Korak, this campaign will be done. We will be saying goodbye to Juto, Cam, Trelamar, Elora, all those guys. And the guys will be creating brand new characters, because honestly, this world is going to be so different. It has a different technology level, it has a different layout, it has a different history. It would make no sense for them to play the same characters. I hope it's all gnomes. No. I don't think Kim said that she was trained by elves. I think she said that she might have had an elven master, which she absolutely could. The Unbroken Empire isn't just humans, it's many different races. They are united by their belief in the path. That's all. Steampunk? Question mark from the game guy? Almost. Think more Magitech. Final Fantasy Magitech style thing for the new campaign. No new ideas. The guys haven't. I've not even spoke to the guys about this new campaign yet, because we are still a good far ways off. I still think that we won't. This current campaign, the Iraq campaign, we'll probably still see this going on until the new year, basically until the end of the year, and then starting in 2018 is when I'd like to move over to the new campaign. I know you guys will miss the old characters, but this is the thing with D&D, man. Like, characters have to. You have to start new characters. You can't just keep playing the same ones, otherwise it gets boring. That's an interesting idea, Danajite. I just think, like, I don't want them to spend too long in First Light, so I like the idea of it having, like, a finite resource. I'd probably do it more like an Estus Flask in Dark Souls, where like they have a crystal that they can suck in power, which lets them cast spells for a time. Maybe like it basically means that they've got a limited number of long rests, and then once it runs out, it runs out. That could be interesting. Do Dawn Shards and Force Shards affect all types of magic? No, I think I always said that it only affected arcane magic. I don't think I had it affect some of the other ones types. I don't know. I'd say a lot of stuff. Will this 420 T-Time, will this stream be uploaded to Yogs Live or Tabletop Weekly? This will go on Yogs Live. If it's on the Yogscast account, it goes up on Yogs Live. If it's on Tabletop Weekly, it'll go up on Tabletop Weekly. Hi Mark, I'm trying to DM and want to ask how you plan on introducing villains to your game. Is it better for the players to just stumble upon them or hint at them? Oh man, hinting at villains can be a great idea. Foreshadowing is a brilliant thing to do. You can do it quite lightly as well. Like I did that initially. The Broken Sky were foreshadowed and teased. Karen Blackearth being undead and necromancy and stuff like that, again foreshadowed. Yeah, I love the idea of foreshadowing big villains especially. And I think as well, like, there's different ways of doing it. Like, the party have never fought Felania. They've seen her, they know that she's powerful, but they've never fought her. So that will make it really kind of scary. And I might even have them fight her a couple of times as the campaign draws closer to an end. Like, actually have them fight her, she gets, she goes away, or they have to run away and then they fight her again later. Curse of Strahd, the module, does an excellent example of this. Really great idea on how to handle powerful villains. Could you make a golem out of Dawn Shard? Yes, you can. It's going to make a creepy face. That's basically a plan I have. It's a plan I have for them to deal with. Probably at the end of this first light, in this first light section, is one of the things that they've been working on. Is this idea of a golem created from Dawn Shard. I was going to have it like, I was going to try and make like armies of golems made of shards. If Felania had got on the Clay Golem manual, but she didn't, so. Do you intend to make any interesting changes to your DMing style in the new campaign? From T. Porter. It will be ever so slightly more sandbox. Now that the guys have got a feel for it, they've got an idea of, how things work and stuff like that, I definitely want to kind of make it a little bit more sandboxy, but not too much. I'm still going to keep it fairly structured in terms of story, but I'd like to make it a bit more open. I'm also going to be a lot less generous with milestone leveling up. I'm actually going to kind of keep like a subtle track of XP, but use my own XP system, just so that it feels a bit more sort of like staggered and they're not rushing through levels, which I do feel that we've kind of had a little bit. Would it be possible for PC to get a shard weapon or shard something? Yeah, Korak's got a shard weapon. He's got a Dawn shard sword. No, full shard sword, sorry. Q-Pixel Streams, asking again because you keep missing it. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's just chat moves too quickly. How'd you go about making a wild magic table? My group uses the NLRMEV2, the Net Library of Random Magical Effects, which has 10,000 random wild surge effects. Yeah, you could definitely use something like that. The one in the PHB is good for the class itself. I'm probably going to create a much simpler chart, because I don't intend on rolling on it that frequently. I think like 10,000 results, like, yeah, like, Christ. You're never going to see the same results, right? I'm probably just going to create like a list of 20 things that can happen, and they're not going to be powerful. They're not going to really be bad. I just kind of want it to have it so it's an interesting way of messing around with them a little bit. How severe is the wild messed up magic going to be in First Light? Like I said, it's not going to be that bad, Triforce. It's going to mainly be sort of things that kind of screw with them a little bit, sort of like teleporting, you know, swapping places with each other in terms of like spatial awareness. Weird. I like the idea of kind of creating these really bizarre magical effects, like, you know, they transform into an ooze for like 2 rounds or something like that, and things like that, and then they transform back. Things that are going to be freaky, but not necessarily too detrimental. How do you go about leveling fairly, as when I go cleric, my barbarian friends always ends up a few levels ahead of me? Digital has down access. Depends on what version you're playing. If you're playing older editions of D&D, that's actually how it works. Different classes have different XP to level up. In 5th edition, I just do it based purely on milestones, so the whole party levels up together. There's none of this like, well, X earned this amount of XP and X earned that amount of XP. I just do it like, you guys have accomplished something as a group, or you've grown as a group, you level up. You guys have completed this objective, you level up. That's how I do it. I think it's the best way of doing it, and that's the fairest one. Right, I'm answering a lot of questions and not doing a lot of DM prep. But yeah, you guys are getting a big lore dump in this stream, and lots of previews for the fur things. Kev Tim Swinch, just seemed natural for Juto to be from the Unbroken Empire with the Asian influence she has. Thought hers was Chinese. Will say that Jedi Juto would be cool. Give her a Sunblade. Unbroken Empire students. Don't get confused in thinking the Unbroken Empire is Eastern in styling. It's not. It is more Jedi than it is anything else. It is not necessarily Wuxia, it's not, or Wuxia, it's not, you know, Asian inspired. It has monks, it has samurai-esque, but it is more Jedi of nature. They live by a code. They have a very strict kind of religious and sociological philosophy, but it's not necessarily Asian. That's going to be in the next campaign, where it's very heavily Asian inspired. How do you feel about campaigns based on existing games? Great. Whatever works for you and your party, basically. Let's have a think. So, I'm going to put like random magic ideas turn into ooze for a few rounds. Swap places. Swap places with others. See alternate dimensions, versions of events, etc. So, I like the idea. Okay, how about this, right? So, let's do Lightborn kidnappings. And the Broken Sky have formed an alliance with the Yuan Ti living in First Light. These mutated spellcasters seek arcane power and knowledge, specifically that of the Lightfall. Felania has promised to assist them, in exchange for providing magical services. Yuan-Ti purebloods have been sent to villages and cities across the Republic to kidnap children who possess elements of the Lightborn magic, Lightborn. Bring them to First Light. Given the pure blood's abilities to suggest charm, this was fairly easy. Most children going willingly. The party can attempt to trace them back to New Light and then First Light, where the party must enter the ruined city. Whoops. They won't be like Nothix Quaxley. I'm gonna make them like still fully intelligent, but just like physically mutated. More gender swapping. No, you've had enough of that. Unless they purposely do something like it can happen with like the wild magic surges and stuff. So Nightjar, I did get that older D&D game you sent me. Thank you very much. I just haven't had a chance to bring it back home and put it on my shelves yet, but I did get it. Thank you super much for that. Psy Guy, so I'm a very avid D&D lover and I'm thinking of DMing for the first time, but a lot of my players have never played D&D before. What advice would you have for someone in my situation? A couple of things you can do, Psy Guy. First things first, like print out like a little help sheet, like something like a little kind of like sheet that they can have, like laminate it or get it on a nice card or something like that. Just with the reminders of like, you know, what can you do in D&D? Anything. If you mean specifically in combat, you can do an action, a move, bonus action, etc. Like list out the actions that they can do. You know, encourage, you know, use your skills in creative ways. If you can imagine it, you can do it. That sort of thing. Really encourage that side of things. I thought I turned that off, but maybe it got turned back on. Let's check this out. Shadow Sage. Donated. Wang, hey Mark, I'm making a campaign based around an upcoming race war that's being incited by tieflings, a demon devil cult, and a race of Dawnshard inspired elementals. Oh, and the party has 2 months to work on each part or it goes bad. Thoughts? Tips? No? Sounds cool? Sounds fun? Do it. Just make sure you give the party enough clues. That's the other thing. To go back to Side Guide's question, so yeah, like a little card that can kind of help them out and you know, give them ideas, and also just encourage them to do that creative play, because that's something that newer players in D&D genuinely do struggle with. Excuse me. Genuinely struggle with. They get stuck in this video game mentality of like, oh, so what can I do? It's like, you can do anything. Like, do you want to punch him in the face? Punch him in the face. Do you want to like backflip over the table? Backflip over the table. Do you want to drink? You can just have a drink. But I would also say, like, start small. Like, you know, lead them by the hand a little bit. You know, kind of give them, you know, a very clear kind of couple of objectives. But also give them room to explore that and be creative in it as well. You know, remind them that it's okay to take inspiration from books and video games and TV. Just don't let them do carbon copies. You know, if somebody loves Legend of Zelda and they're like, oh, I want to play Link. Be like, okay, but how are you going to make him your character, not just Link? Like, you know, come up with something fun. You know, try and encourage them to come up with one thing that makes them really special and unique. And that could be a great way of doing it. Have fun. That's the other one. Make sure it's fun. Get some good snacks in, that sort of thing. Right. Let me just catch up on all of these. The GG Wizard, I'm sorry, you haven't quite missed the stream. It's just been a Q&A and some D&D prep now. There's been a lot of lore bombs. Make sure you flag this. Don't, you know, please don't go and like spam loads of stuff at Katie and Trot and Kim and say like, oh, Mark's gonna do this. You know, let them savor it. Let them savor it. Because it'll be more fun that way as well. Right. Right, let's... Creepy idea, make the Yuan-Ti farm. Interesting. Don't forget to save the document. Don't worry, Ahela, this is the beautiful thing of Google Docs. It regularly auto-saves to the cloud, so I don't need to worry about it because I'm always losing stuff like that. So, we've got Yuan-Ti's doing this. Yeah, I think that kind of gives us some stuff to work with there. Like, I'll in my spare time, away from the stream, I think I'm going to kind of shore this up. I'm going to add in, make sure we've got some good clues, some good encounters. I don't think... I might save off... I think what we're going to do is the next kind of sessions is going to be very much focused on these missing Lightborn kids. I like the idea of, like, Smith's character maybe coming in to help with that. And, maybe having some insight. Maybe he's, he's familiar with First Light. That gives him a reason to be there. Yeah, I like it. I think we've got some good notes here. We've got some good stuff planned. And hopefully this gives you guys, an idea. Like, I don't always have everything ready and planned. Sometimes I have to sit down and go, what the F is going on? Like, and plan it all out. Because sometimes, things just kind of get ahead of you. Let the Yuan-Ti experiment with the results of Lightborn reproduction. Neither I would do that, but I said they were kids. Not touching that with a barred pole. Definitely not touching that. Minecraft 3DS. Can't wait to see you at Mindvention Belfast. I'm not going to Mindvention. You're probably thinking of Calf, and I'm not Calf. So, there you go. And I'm not Martin. Right. Last couple of things. So I'm going to leave that as is. Whoop. Leave the microphone, Mark. What are you doing? Idiot. So, let's get old OBS up. So, we're going to get rid of these. I think I'll answer a couple more questions, guys, and then I'm going to wrap this stream up, I think. Will there be a fan art video next week? Next week, there is no stream, Q Pixel streams. Myself and Trot are away at LARP. We're going to Empire next weekend, so there won't be a stream next weekend. Episode 50, I'm sure we will try and get a fan art video for that, though, because that would be really fun. That would be nice. Dude Smith as a rogue Yuan-Ti. You can't make this. I don't know if he'll play a Yuan-Ti. I don't think he'll want to play a bad guy. Do all Lightborns have the same power, or some more powerful or unique? I think what I would say is, like, once they reach adulthood, they have the same powers, because it's a specific race I've created, but younger ones may not have the same powers, or may not have it sort of like, things. If two Lightborns have children, let's say, for example, Cam and Cassandra, would their child be Lightborn too? Very likely that they would, yes. Mark Calf Terps. Is there any way I can watch you LARP? You can't watch any physical videos of us actually in character running around the field, all that sorts of things. Filming isn't allowed at the events, but I do have a couple of videos up on Tabletop Weekly talking about it, explaining a few things, answering questions, that sort of thing, so you can watch those there. Anywhere you can watch a good and fun D&D runs, Sir Testical. Sir Testical, first of all, you can watch HighRollers, which is normally 5 till 8 on a Sunday on this very Twitch channel. We are obviously having a one-off Q&A/D&D prep stream right now. So you can watch HighRollers every Sunday, 5 p.m. BST, here on the twitch.tv/Yogscast. On top of that, we're also going to be doing a brand new mini-series on Fridays, which will start around the 23rd or 30th of June. We haven't quite locked it in yet. It's going to be brand new story, brand new characters, all part of the brand new D&D module, The Tomb of Annihilation. If you want to watch some other amazing D&D streams, however, I'm going to recommend a bunch of them to you now because they're all lovely people. The first one is The C Team by the Penny Arcade team. That's over on twitch.tv/hyperrpg, 3 p.m. PDT on Thursdays. Really lovely people. They've helped us out immensely letting us stream from their studios. Really, really funny show as well. Critical Role, Geek and Sundry. Thursdays, much later PDT. I don't remember because I can never watch it live. On twitch.tv/Geek and Sundry. Really, really good. The biggest one, the best one you can probably watch. You've got Misclicks, you've got Dice Camera Action, you've got Maze Arcana, you've got Dragon Friends. You've so many that you can watch. So many. Really worth checking out. Loads of really good stuff. A couple of donations have come through. Okay, I'll read these and then we're going to wrap things up. Nightjar. Another big thank you for MCM. It was brilliant and gave me such a happy boost that hopefully carry over for the next few weeks. Also, a question from the Extra Life. What treasures were being protected by the armor that killed Juto back in Torfield? Oh, man, I can't remember exactly. I think it was... There was definitely a hat of disguise. And... I want to say... Like some potions, some scrolls. I can't remember exactly. I know a hat of disguise was definitely in there, though. Nothing super fancy. That was the funniest thing. It wasn't like it was an amazing hoard of treasure. Just like mainly some gold and stuff like that. Kevtin Winch. Mark, what is the weirdest concept you have played or been in a game with? One of my players is new to roleplay and gaming at Tabletop and seems a bit shy, so she created a short neon pink head Viking barbarian that carries the party by being a tank. That sounds amazing. That doesn't sound weird at all. Sounds incredible. I guess like Sorek, my lizard man, was really fun to play and a bit weird, like playing that sort of really alien character. Playing the Grung as part of Stream Annihilation was really fun as well, being like a little Raphael Ninja Turtle frog. That was a good laugh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anything too strange. Veteran Harry Barry played a pacifist necromancer once, which was a lot of fun as well. So there we go. Right. I'm going to pretty much call things there, folks. I'm going to run 5 more minutes of ads because I have to. But I'm pretty much done. So, Mark, got your Lightborn race from DM's Guild. If I wanted a half-orc Light Barbarian, would you replace half-orc Relentless Endurance with Hope Never Dies racial feature? That'd be an interesting Gabe Ruiz. Technically, yeah, like, I would guess... I would say that if you want to play... You need to talk to your DM because Lightborn is always intended to be like your parents, your heritage was human. So if you wanted to play another race, talk to your DM about how you would mix the two abilities. I would probably take some abilities from Lightborn and some abilities from Half-Orc, but you would have an immediate crossover between Relentless Endurance and Hope Never Dies. So hopefully that works out. The entire stream of Annihilation is now watchable on D&D Twitch site and on their YouTube. So if you want to watch that there, you can. That's it from me, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry this was a filler stream. We will be back to regular D&D content, not next week because I am away at LARP, but the week after will be our 50th episode. Should be a really good one. We're hopefully going to have Alex Smith as our guest from Hat Films, so it should be really, really good. Hopefully this has been fun. I've enjoyed it immensely. I'm intending to do some more streams on my personal Twitch, which is Tabletop Weekly. You can also check out my board game and video game videos over on there is on YouTube, which is Tabletop Weekly as well. And I will see you guys very soon. Thanks very much for coming by. See you next time. Take you later, guys. Bye.